Every meaningful gathering needs a voice that reflects its spirit. It gives me great pleasure to invite Mr. Nivedit George, Chair, Young Minds, whose leadership represents the energy, ambition, and the purpose of the next generation. Please join me in welcoming him for the welcome address.
Good morning. Respected dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Tom Jose, Chief Guest for the day, Mr. Sharad Babu, Guest of Honor, K. Harikumar, Mr. Harikumar, our President, KMA, Stanul Varma, Secretary, KMA, past presidents, MC members, Young Minds members, and each and every one of you, a very warm welcome to you all. On a weekday morning, a room filled with young professionals, founders, experienced leaders, it says something important, that curiosity, it isn't tied to an age or a title, it's a mindset. And by that measure, we're a room truly filled with young minds. Today is a culmination of many small decisions made by people across this room and beyond it, to say yes and to show up with intent. It's a reminder that meaningful things don't happen in isolation, they happen when we come together. So before we move ahead, I'd invite you all to take a moment, take a breath, to fully arrive into this space, to prepare to exchange ideas and perspectives over the next 2 days. We're living in a time where ambition is encouraged, visibility is constant, and information is always within reach. I remember my father once importing a book, Six Sigma for Dummies, and waiting weeks for it to arrive. Today, I can get a summary of that book and even simulate a conversation with the authors, all in seconds. This shift is real, the possibility is everywhere, and learning has never been faster. The other side of this reality is acceleration. Change is exponential today, and it comes with constant pressure. Pressure to keep up, to perform, and to stay relevant. It often feels like if you pause for a moment, the world moves on without you. Financial expectations are high. Work spills into personal time. In fact, we're still hearing conversations about 90-hour work weeks and staying at the office rather than at home. All these pressures, they start to compound. They don't operate independently. They compound and affect how we work, how we think, and how we live. In fact, as data and AI reshape how work is done and how success is measured, this acceleration will only intensify. Which is why spaces like this really matter. Not for us to resist change, but for all of us to come together to find a way to make it meaningful and human. It is within this reality that the theme of our convention lies, transforming for impact. For Young Minds, this is specifically grounded in Kerala, how Kerala is transforming and how financial stability, physical well-being, emotional resilience together shape sustainable progress. As we move forward, I'd like to acknowledge KMA leadership, YM advisor, and the core team for their trust and support to make spaces like this possible. Young Minds has grown from a handful of us to a strong community that meets regularly. What makes our gatherings special is that they are intentionally balanced. We come together for conversation and learning through physical and social activities and through open and informal discussions, often leading to collaborations and network. Young Minds truly reflects the spirit of this theme. We truly try to stay financially engaged, physically active, and mentally present. We have a great day ahead of us, a lot of insightful keynotes, some comedy, an interactive game during tea break, and exciting panels with prominent speakers. Over the next few hours, I hope this summit sparks honest conversations and ideas that stay with you beyond this room. With that, it's my privilege to welcome Mr. Tom Jose, Mr. Sharad Babu, KMA leaders, KMA members, and each and every one of you to the Young Minds Morning Summit, ClaySys KMAC 2026. Thank you.
has always believed that today's young minds are tomorrow's decision makers. To share his vision for this summit and the larger transformation journey, may I invite our President, Mr. K. Harikumar, for the presidential address.
Dear young minds, I'm addressing people on the stage and off the stage as young minds because this is basically an young mind summit. And it's a pleasure to stand before the young minds, the young-minded audience in the Young Mind Summit, which is basically a curtain raiser for the 43rd Kerala Management Convention, which we are partnering with ClaySys basically. KMA has been organizing separate session for the young minds since last few years, basically because a lot of younger people, young in age also, are coming into the management sphere. Now, a lot of younger people are coming, and I was told once by a recruiting agency that they don't even look at the resumes of people below the age of 45 unless they reach a much senior position, because there are enough people who are younger in age available. And though the world is not getting younger, India is definitely getting younger. We have a lot of people who are young in age, who are starting companies, who are starting working at a very young age. When you talk about entrepreneur, we have an Alina Morse in the US who started a company called Zolipop, which is a sugar-free candy at the age of 7. And it's a multi-billion-dollar business. And India also is not foreign to these ideas. We have a lot of people. Let's look at the young startup entrepreneur, Arvind Srinivas, the founder of Perplexity, which is today a multi-billion-dollar business. He's one of the billionaires in the world. I mean a billionaire in dollar terms. We also have Aditya Palicha and Advait Thakur, who at the age of 22 co-founded Zepto. So what we are seeing from all this, the Indian ecosystem is increasingly getting youth-driven. The management ecosystem is increasingly getting youth-driven. There are founders who are much younger, who are scaling faster and leading ventures with global potential. Though the world is not getting younger, Europe we all say is getting grayer, India is definitely getting younger because 65% of the population is under the age of 35 and 40% is under the age of 25. That shows the potential India has, and that shows the focus we are giving on the youth is correct. Companies are also definitely looking younger. Earlier, the average lifespan of a company used to be 60 years plus. Now, Standard & Poor in a recent study said the average lifespan of a company is 16 to maybe around 20 years. This means half of today's companies may not even be existing today. Existing tomorrow, that is existing a decade or two from now. And when you talk about the startups are born faster and they die faster too. Only around 10 to 15% of the startups are expected to survive beyond 10 years, and only 1% is expected to survive for a longer term. What does it show? It shows industries and the companies have to continuously evolve by transforming themselves. And there is a saying, companies don't die because the world changes. Companies die because they refuse or they don't understand how to change the world. That is the most important message. And companies continue to emerge. And unless the transformation keeps on happening, the death tend to be much faster. That is where the role of organization like KMA comes in. What is KMA? KMA is not an event manager. KMA, I would say, is a thought leader. KMA is a talent hunter, and it's a culture shaper, and KMA tries to bridge the gap between aspirations and action. That is where the role of KMA comes in. KMA tries to take people in the fold. KMA tries to understand and identify the talent. KMA tries to mold the talent. KMA also tries to build in a culture among the people, among the management fraternity. And KMA attracts and KMA encourages people to take their aspirations forward and convert them to action. And KMA, for this matter, has been organizing many talk sessions. We have, as you all know, an Insight X talk series wherein practicing managers come and speak. That is where we try to bridge the gap between the academy and the industry. Because whatever you have to learn from the colleges, you learn, the teachers teach you, but an interaction with the practicing managers will enable people to understand what exactly is happening in the industry. So KMA is there trying to bridge the gap. We also have a digital management summit. We recently concluded one. We also have various panel discussions on various topics of topical interest. We have an young manager summit. We even recognize and reward the young manager. And we have a women manager summit. So if you look at it, KMA continuously organizes programs for people of various segments. It's not only young, but it's also to the senior managerial professional also. And coming to the young minds, we just also organized a finishing school wherein, because you all know that there is a gap between the technical knowledge and what exactly is required by the industry. There are soft skills also required. KMA recently concluded a finishing school wherein almost 45 to 50 people came, and then for the polishing section, basically they came to understand, they went through the finishing school process and they all went back as complete individuals, because in an industry, it is not only the academic knowledge what is required, you also have to have the soft skills. You have to have proper communication skills. You should know how to behave, you should know how to interact, you should also know how to sell yourself, you should know how to sell your ideas, you should know how to convince the other person. So KMA has done this finishing school concept. And KMA also is getting into a new method, new mode of internship at the district administration level, wherein it is basically an internship. It is for the students to get interned on social work, governance, public administration, etc. This will enable students to look for a career beyond corporate. Recently, one of our committee members, he had an interaction with one of the assistant collectors, and she was saying she got prompted to get into IAS because she interned under some other IAS officer. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to give a different spectrum of vision to people. We are opening the eyes of the younger minds so they can look at the world with a much broader vision. These are the things which we have initiated. And even if you look at the theme of the convention, the current year KMA theme itself is 360-degree management, purpose, people, planet and profit, 4 P's. No organization should work without a purpose. Ultimately, the purpose will come into the forefront, and any organization should take care of the people. By people, I don't mean only the employees, I mean all the stakeholders. Everybody who is associated right from the society in which it's operating should also be considered. And there is no way for looking forward unless you look at the planet, because planet is something which we have inherited or which we have borrowed from tomorrow, not inherited from our predecessors, but what we have borrowed from the future. And profit, it is said that if you do all these things right, profit will automatically come. In short, profit should not be the only motivator to work. And quarterly numbers will come if you take care of the other factors. In short, purpose gives direction, people provide energy, planet ensures responsibility, and profit delivers sustainability. And the young minds, I will just conclude, young minds have a lot of appetite and they are all wired to explore. But success comes, when does the success come? Success comes when the risk is guided and not reckless. And KMA will guide you as the best outcomes come when the youthful risk is paired with mentorship and experience. That is exactly what KMA is trying to do. My message to the YM is simple. Dream boldly. Even the people who are not young in age can also dream boldly. Execute relentlessly. Fail intelligently. That is one area where we forget to teach our kids. Failing intelligently. It is not just failing intelligently so that you can learn from your mistake on how you failed and you can correct from that and succeed responsibly. Build businesses that respect customers, build cultures that respect people, and build models that respect everybody. As our theme says, 360-degree management should be the focus. Goal is not to build an organization that lasts forever, but build one that can reinvent repeatedly, because reinvention is the key, transformation is the key. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, President K. Harikumar, for the insightful address. In Indian tradition, lighting the lamp symbolizes the awakening of knowledge, clarity of thought, and unity of purpose. Values that resonate deeply within the spirit of young minds. May I request the dignitaries to kindly join us for the lighting of the ceremony lamp. President K. Harikumar, Honorary Secretary Mr. Anil Verma, Chief Guest Mr. Tom George IAS, Guest of Honor Mr. Sharath Babu Elimelai, Chair Young Minds Mr. Nivedit George. And may I also request the architect of the two-day convention, our Chairman, 43rd KMA Annual Management Convention, ClaySys KMAC, and Senior Vice President Mr. Aljiz Khalid, and the Secretary Young Minds Mr. Anup Abraham to join the dignitaries on the dais to light the ceremonial lamp.
Good morning. Respected President KMA, K. Harikumar Sir, CEO Kottakkal Arya Vaidhyashala, Senior Vice President KMA Aljiz Khalid, Founder and Owner Puvat International, Vice President Dilip Narayanan, Founder and Managing Director Organic BPS, Honorary Secretary K. Anil Verma, Managing Director Verma Homes, our immediate past President and YM Advisor Sri Bibu Punnuran, Director Medivision, other Managing Committee members, Mr. Nivedit George, Chair Young Minds, Mr. Tom Jose IAS, Chairman KSE Limited and former Chief Secretary Government of Kerala, Mr. Sharath Babu Elimelai, Founder and CEO Food King and Founder Hunger Free India Foundation, other invited dignitaries, eminent panelists, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is indeed our great privilege to introduce Mr. Tom Jose, IAS, former Chief Secretary to the Government of Kerala and a distinguished officer of the Indian Administrative Service 1984 batch Kerala cadre. An MBA graduate from the Cochin University of Science and Technology, Mr. Jose has rendered exemplary service across a wide spectrum of governance, both at the state and national levels, as well as in international assignments. He began his illustrious career as the sub-collector at Thrissur and went on to serve as a district collector at Pathanamthitta. His contributions at the central government include service in the Ministry of Defense and as counselor at the Embassy of India, Moscow. Within the government of Kerala, he has held several pivotal leadership roles, including Principal Secretary in key departments such as Public Works, Higher Education, Transport, and Planning and Economic Affairs. He was the first Managing Director of Kochi Metro Rail Limited, playing a foundational role in one of the state's most significant infrastructure initiatives. He has also served as a Managing Director and Chairman of the Kerala Shipping and Inland Navigation Corporation and as Managing Director of KSIDC. Prior to assuming office as Chief Secretary, he served as the Additional Chief Secretary, Labour and Skills Department. His tenure as Chief Secretary coincided with some of the most challenging periods in Kerala's recent history, including Nipah outbreak, the 2018 floods, and the COVID-19 pandemic, all the three of which we can never forget. Mr. Tom Jose is widely admired for his integrity, constitutional discipline, and deep commitment to public service. It is definitely a privilege and a great honor for all of us to welcome you, sir. Stage is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. True, transformation is not accidental. It is intentional, ethical, and purpose-driven. Our chief guest embodies leadership that bridges governance, enterprise, and public good. It's my honor to invite Mr. Tom Jose, IAS, Chairman KSC Limited and former Chief Secretary, Government of Kerala, to deliver the inaugural address, Leading Transformation with Purpose. Over to you, sir.
President of KMA, Mr. Hari Kumar, distinguished dignitaries in the dais, the young minds present here, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for such a nice introduction. I never thought that I was such a good guy, so you really improved my mood in the morning. Thank you very much for that. It is indeed a privilege to inaugurate this Young Minds Summit. As the name indicates, it's quite a powerful term. Young minds means that you are really, really young in your thought processes, in your mind, in your brains, questioning everything, curious about things, and that is how we learn. And the summit certainly is a place to pause, to think, and to rise above the routine things that we do on an everyday basis and look at a larger landscape around us. I think when we look at this summit, the real issue here is for managers today is not really how successful I will be, but what kind of a success I will be able to create. I think when you look at leadership in that sense, what comes to my mind is the concept of critical thinking. Perhaps as leaders, what managers require maximum today, the most important skill that managers need today is, I think, critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is not really about negativity or constant doubt. It is about a disciplined thought process. It's about questioning assumptions. It is about questioning trends. It is about not following the herd. It is fairly easy to follow the herd. I think 99% of the humanity does that. But it is what 1% of Homo sapiens who actually make the difference. I think it was Ernest Hemingway who once said that thinking hurts. It's not very easy to think. Because when you think, doubts arise. Your mind, your brain is in turmoil. You constantly ask questions. It's not a very comfortable thing to engage in deep thought processes. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves, about the ecosystem in which we operate, about the planet where we live. As managers, if you engage in critical thinking, it forces you to take responsibility for your actions. So I have this thought process where I think that today what we lack as a society and perhaps as a community is we lack critical thinking. We do not question enough. We take the comfortable path. We obey people. We obey political leaders. We obey religious leaders. We obey our corporate leaders. We don't question. And what this following leads to is a certain level of stupidity. Now, when you stop thinking, you become stupid. Now, thinking, it is always uncomfortable, but when you don't think, the comfortable thing happens, that is, you become stupid. It's very easy to do that. I am not talking about lack of intelligence here. A lot of intelligent people make stupid decisions. History is replete with examples of that. We ourselves do that. We all think that we are intelligent people. No doubt you will be able to score a figure of 110, 120, 130 on an intelligence IQ test. But you certainly might have or will make stupid decisions. Bertrand Russell once said that the problem with the world, the modern world, is that stupid people are very sure of themselves. They're very confident, whereas the intelligent people are always full of doubt. They doubt. They really think, oh, am I making the right decision? They're always doubting themselves, whereas people who are mediocre are always very confident. This sort of leads to something what psychologists would call the Dunning-Kruger effect, where The very incompetence that makes you incompetent makes you feel competent. It's a kind of a paradox. Incompetent people always think that they're very competent. They are unable to understand that they are incompetent by the very fact that they are incompetent. There was this German monk called Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who did a lot of research on human stupidity. He was basically, at the time of Adolf Hitler, he wanted to find out why Germans followed Nazism, followed Hitler, and allowed such atrocities to happen. And for his research, he was jailed by Hitler, but he still continued his research, and he came to the conclusion that 99% of Homo sapiens are stupid people because we don't question. We tend to follow, we tend to accept, we find that more comfortable. Look around you. Look at our belief systems, our religious beliefs, our political beliefs, our corporate belief systems. The things we do without questioning, without asking for evidence. There's hardly any evidence-based learning. We live in a time when we are unable to process the information overload that happens around us. About 40 years back when I did an MBA, we did not have television in Kerala at that time. We didn't have computers. The first computer which I saw was as big as a Godrej steel cabinet that was in Cochin shipyard, and it was a punch card system, and we didn't understand what it was. We had no internet. All you had for information was newspapers, books, and the radio. Now everybody has got a smartphone, which is a computer, and everybody scrolls through billions of bytes of information, but your attention span is limited. Our brains are unable to process that. You scroll through your screens, and then suddenly something else comes to your mind, so you go into that. Then from there you go into something else, and before you know, somebody posts something which is really meaningless, and within about a minute or two there are 10 million likes. It becomes viral. It becomes a truth. But where is the evidence? Do people really think through things? The more I look at it, I think we do not. We let others do the thinking for us. We have pawned, given away the ownership of our cerebral cortex to various interest groups. And algorithms control you. They decide what you eat today. They decide what you do today. They decide what you think today. They decide how you react and respond to a situation today. Not your brains. Now, how do we handle a situation like that? It's not very easy for managers to take decisions in such a kind of an environment where there is an information overload. I have a personal mantra, a philosophy to share with you. As human beings, as managers, we always tend to gather things. Managers want to make more profits. We want to acquire more things. We are into gathering things, material things, gathering money, sometimes things which we don't need. Let us think in terms of scattering things. Instead of gathering, scatter more than you gather. Scatter your knowledge so that your team becomes stronger. Scatter the opportunities so that other people can also grow. Scatter trust so that collaboration replaces fear. Scatter fairness so that it's not loyalty that matters, but justice that matters. When you scatter more, the world around you, the people around you, they benefit more. Our esteemed president talked about profits. Yes, profits are necessary for any business organization to survive, but profits should not be our purpose. Profits should not be the objective. Profit is something that you make, which comes in when you serve the society, when you attend to the needs of the society in an ethical fashion. When we talk about ethics, I wanted to impress upon you that one of the things which we come across in today's management is fake products and fake services. Now, a lot of corporates, a lot of businesses are guilty of selling fake things. It happens all around us every day. You have instant, to give you a few examples, you have instant weight loss programs, products. Lose 10 kilos in 10 days' time. Now, everybody knows if you apply your cerebral cortex, you know that this is something which cannot happen at all. Scientifically, it is not possible to lose 10 kilos in 10 days and to sustain that. Yet how many millions of people go and buy such services and products? You come across financial schemes which says that 100% returns, guaranteed, zero risk. You see advertisements. Now, anybody who has studied a little bit of finance management knows that higher returns mean high risk. So it is not possible for 100% returns with a zero risk. It is impossible. Yet, millions of people fall prey to such advertisements and schemes. You in education sector, you have coaching institutions, universities, colleges, which would say that 100% placement if you join our course. That's not possible. Without the students bringing in effort, 100% placement is simply not possible. Yet, a lot of students fall prey to these kind of illusions. You have religious groups promising you penthouse suite after your death. Mind you, everything is after your death, not in this life. Now, billions of people believe that. Why does it happen? Why do we give away the powers of our cerebral cortex to groups and organizations like this? But we do. Let me give you one corporate example, specific example. Everybody knows about Hindustan Lever, a huge company that has made huge profits. Making profits is now called Hindustan Unilever. Hindustan Lever used to sell and now also sells a product called Fair and Lovely. Now, Fair and Lovely, when I was a college kid, they used to advertise that you take this cream and put it on your face and arms, you become white. Now, white, as you know, is the color of purity across the world. We have all been trained and taught that black is evil and white is good. And everybody in India wants to be white, fair. Now, if anybody had thought about it, can a cream which is applied topically on your skin make you fair? It is impossible. But Hindustan Lever kept on selling this fake product for decades. A conservative calculation is that they would have made about 3,000 to 4,000 crores on this product. I still remember the advertisements of Fair and Lovely, which shows a woman of color looking very sad because her complexion is dusky. It's black. And after she applies Fair and Lovely, wonderful. She looks glowing. She looks white, fair. How many millions of people fell for this fake product? Now, all this product was conceived, sold by educated people, MBAs. It was advertised by some of the top-notch advertising companies. What was it? Was it ethical? Was it a subtle manipulation of mind? Wasn't it preying on the fears and aspirations and hopes of innocent people? Collecting the money out of their pockets and putting it into the company's pocket. This is an example of how, I would call it, how corporate greed can transform into such unethical practices. We are all part of that system that nurtured it. I think as young minds, when we are gathered today, what we should be doing it. When we do business, when we carry out our jobs, when we innovate, when we come out with products and services, we should look at genuine value addition. We should look at ethical practices. Let me end my speech with an uncomfortable truth that might disturb you. One of the popular thinkers and political economists of our times, whose views have significantly shaped and altered the history of the world. You know his name, everybody knows his name. I am talking about Karl Marx. Karl Marx once said, "The law does not punish theft because something was stolen, but the law punishes because of the person who stole it." When a poor man steals, it is a crime. When rich people steal an entire nation, it's called a business. When powerful corporates, powerful companies extract enormous value without a consideration for the planet in which we live in, and this is our only home, we are not going anywhere else, without any consideration for the people around us, what is it that we should call it? You may reject Karl Marx, but you cannot reject the questions he forces us to ask. When does profit become exploitation? When does strategy become legalized injustice? Now, legality is not morality. Morality is a concern for the welfare and happiness of others and everything around us. When wrong things are done on a larger scale, it does not make it right. Therefore, I think that we should think deeply about these things, about what we do. We should not let interest groups, political groups, religious groups, and corporates dictate what we do. What we do should come out of your cerebral cortex. When critical thinking disappears, stupidity grows. When stupidity is combined with power, the damage is irreversible. So, history will not judge managers by asking how clever they are being, by asking how much profit they made for their companies. History will judge managers by asking, did you normalize exploitation? Did you normalize harm? Did you help to normalize unethical practices? Let us not fall into that trap. Managers should be judged by the good things they do, the value addition that they bring to the society in which they live in. And for this, I think asking questions is necessary. Asking questions is a must. Probably one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived amongst us, Socrates, he said that he never really propounded a philosophy. His thoughts were penned by Plato, his disciple. Socrates used to ask questions, and he conversed that all I know is that I know nothing. But he would ask questions. And for the questions he asked, the city of Athens put him to death. The charges against Socrates were that he was corrupting the youth of Athens by asking questions, and he was disrespecting gods. The same kind of charges are used today in our times also to silence questions. These are the charges that were raised against Socrates 3,000 years back. He was asked to apologize, he was asked to recant, he refused, he drank poison. The same two questions are being used today also to silence critical thinking. Therefore, I would exhort all the young minds gathered here that I think it is our duty to think critically, to promote critical thinking, to ask questions, and to use our cerebral cortex to solve problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Entrepreneurship today is no longer just about profit. It's about purpose, people, and positive disruption. To introduce our guest of honor, may I invite Ms. Arati Verma, Director of Verma Homes.
Good morning to all dignitaries on and off the dais and everyone gathered here. I'm extremely privileged and honored to have the opportunity to introduce the guest of honor, Mr. Sharad Babu Elumalai, someone whose life story reminds us that where you start does not define how far you can go, and that success finds its highest meaning when it uplifts others. Born on November 10, 1979 in Madipakkam, Chennai, Mr. Sharad Babu Elumalai was raised in a household where resilience was a daily lesson. His mother supported her family by making and selling idlis. As a young boy, Mr. Sharad Babu would help her sell them before heading to school, alongside his 4 siblings. Those early mornings shaped not just his work ethic, but also his deep-rooted commitment to social equity. Academically exceptional, he studied at King's Matriculation School, went on to earn his bachelor's degree from BITS Pilani, worked with Polaris for 3 years, and later completed his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Despite lucrative multinational job offers after IIM, he made a bold and uncommon choice to build something of his own with purpose at its core. In 2006, with a seed capital of just rupees 2,000, he founded Food King, an institutional food delivery venture. By 2011, Food King had expanded to 6 locations across India, achieved an annual turnover of rupees 80 million and employed over 300 people, most from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, turning employment into empowerment. But Mr. Sharad Babu's vision extended for beyond business. In 2010, he launched Hunger Free India, feeding the poor and marking October 10 as Hunger Free Day. He initiated Golden 10, a free IIT coaching program for underprivileged students in Tamil Nadu, and worked on vendor upgradation projects, many inspired by his mother's journey and struggles. His desire to create a systemic change led him into public life. He has contested multiple elections independently and as part of different platforms, always driven by conviction rather than convenience. His work and leadership have earned him several prestigious recognitions, including Pepsi MTV Youth Icon, CNN IBN Young Indian Leader, Ritz Chennai Youth Icon, and recognition by the World Bank as one of the top 3 global entrepreneurs and among India's top 50 change agents. It's extremely fortunate to have you here and eagerly waiting to hear from you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arati. Our guest of honor represents a new age entrepreneurial spirit where business success and social impact walk hand in hand. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sharad Babu Elumalai, founder and CEO of Food King and founder Hunger Free India Foundation, for his address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for the introduction and kind words. After listening to Chief Guest's speech, I agree why Kerala is still God's own country. You know, like it's very difficult for big corporate houses to deal with Karl Marx, then Abraham Lincoln, then Socrates. You know, all in one form, sitting as chief secretary. You know, so I understand how tough time they would have had. You know, like after listening to half an hour of speech, they would have said, "Okay, thank you so much. We have places other than Kerala." So great to listen to you, sir, about critical thinking, and it's my pleasure to be here in Kerala and in a summit which focuses on youth, young minds. I mean, I've been doing this for past 20 years. So again coming back for a new initiative which focuses on youngsters, it's really great. A very good morning to respected Hari sir, respected Bibu sir, respected Nivedit, Anup, Tomjo sir, and respected dignitaries as participants of the dais. Myself, Sharad Babu. I'm from Chennai, and I run a company called Food King. Then I'm a founder of Hunger Free India Foundation. Then I'm a CEO of a software company as well, Elixir. So I was born and brought up in a slum. So where only you could understand it's only full of huts and very poor locality. And my mother was a single mother, and we were 5 kids. So she had the single responsibility to feed all 5 of us. 5 is a huge number, I believe, like for a single lady, and also to educate and also to take care of their needs like dress and whatever. We were in a hut, and my mother was working in a government scheme 35-40 years back. She was earning 1 rupee a day. So that income was not enough, so she started a small idli shop just outside our hut, and she put all of us in a matriculation school, like just for the dream of her to make sure like her kids speak mummy or mother or whatever, good morning, good afternoon, few words in English. So with that dream she put, but she didn't have the money. So and she put me in a school, and I went, and I was among 40 kids. When I looked at them and myself, I realized I'm totally different. Because my friends' parents used to take 3 uniforms for a year. My mother used to take just 1 uniform for a year, which is like around 600, 700 times you go to wash and wear it for 3 years, right? So it will tear off. So, or it will get pale or whatever. Like I could see that I'm very different. I mean, financially, I was very different. And so I had to focus that anger, that disappointment, that sadness into unruly behavior in the class. And since my mother could not pay fees on time, that the first school which I joined, like they failed me, so she put me in another school. So where I went, and I accidentally scored first mark in one of the subject. So till then there was nothing good to talk about me except this guy, whatever normal. Is a guy with a torn shirt or whatever. But first time when I got good marks, everybody spoke about me. I was like always trying to hide myself in one corner of the class. But first time when everybody spoke about me, I felt like my not 56 inches, but I mean I don't know how many inches. So it got bloated. I mean I was just crisscrossing in the class, and I was just telling them, myself Sharad Babu, look at me, like myself Sharad Babu who scored first mark in the subject. I feel very proud. So that was the lesson that for me to get good name, good recognition, I could use my studies. So I scored first mark in all the subjects. So at the end of second standard, I became the first rank holder. But at the in every month, 10th of every month, they used to make me to stand outside just because I could not pay the fees on time. My mother used to take 6 months, 8 months, whenever she get bonuses from the government, she'll pay. So for all those 6 months, I got to stand 1 week outside the class and take notes and study. So then, I said one question to me, like when I was just standing outside, when I was ridiculed or whatever, I said one thing: is it necessary to sit inside the class to score the first rank? The answer came, no, you could stand outside and still score the first rank. Here I took it like this: it's a great opportunity to prove yourself that you're not good, you're great. So I used to stand outside. Then what I have to do? That was the next question. I said, you should not worry about anybody looking at you and commenting, or you should not worry about anything, your leg pain or whatever. What you have to worry about is whether you are able to listen to the teacher or not, and whether you are able to see the board or not. I exactly focused on that, not 99.99%, but 100%. I never felt the pain in my legs, even though I stood for a week. I said, this is normal. So then my correspondent will come, my mother will just come and take permission. Then he will say, like, he's a first rank student, so allow him to sit inside. So I was just, until the time I take first rank, I'll be allowed to sit 3 weeks inside the class, 1 week outside the class. So I should take first rank. So that became another motivation. Then my biggest dream during my childhood was whether my mother will be able to give the next meal to us or not. And she'll be running here and there trying to get some food. And I used to be the salesman for my mother. I used to sell idlis in the morning in the streets, then come and give the cash and go to must be around some 4-5 rupees or 10 rupees, whatever, give to her and go to the class. So then I used to go to a free tuition, come back. I used to, wait around my mother cooking in the evening, then she will feed us, then I'll eat and go and sleep. We didn't have electricity, just kerosene lamp. So I used to watch in the kerosene lamp that my mother used to drink lots of water and will be dripping down the throat. I used to watch because I am just on the mat, right? So I used to think my mother is really fond of water. Then in my 7th standard, I happened to see the same thing, and that changed my vision, changed everything in my life, that my mother is drinking water just because she's not having food, and she's drinking water. She has given all the food to 5 of us, and she's drinking water to satisfy her hunger. So that became like, I was like, one life in this earth, sacrificing even the food, which is the most important thing, to another life on this earth, maybe son or daughter, but one life is sacrificing, that is mother. I realized why everybody is saying mother is God. This is the reason mother is God, and I am seeing my God in reality. Then question, what am I going to do for her? Then came the answer, I'm going to go to the best college. The first month salary I get, I'll give to her and say you can take rest. So then 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, till 10th there was no electricity at home, but I used to think positively that people who have electricity, my friends, they could see everything in their room, but myself, without electricity, what I could see is only my book. So my concentration is much better to them compete. I did book binding in my 10th. I earned good. I earned good to continue my 11th. In 12th, since my vision is to get to the best college, so I said I was not able to wake up early because there was no energy. So what I said, I'll sleep on plain floor without even shirt, and because of the chillness, I'll wake up by night 12 o'clock. And I used to wake up by night 12 o'clock till morning 7. I used to study. What gave me motivation is when your mother is able to sacrifice her food for you, you could sacrifice your sleep for her. That gave me the motivation, and with that I scored good marks, went to BITS Pilani, then studied with scholarship. Then I took up leadership positions there. Everybody said you could be a manager. Then I said I will be a manager, because they said you could earn 1 crore in salary. So I said I came here for 2-3 lakhs, but they're saying 1 crore. So I thought I'll give 8.5 lakhs to my mother the first time. So I dreamt big. But in my 4th year, I went to Bihar, where I was preparing for CAT, the entrance exam. I read a report saying that 30% Indian population is below poverty line. So that changed my vision, that your mother's sacrifice should not only benefit you or your siblings, it should benefit more people. So that gave the birth idea to start a company. I came back, took a job, 3 years I worked, prepaid all the debts. Then I gave CAT for 4 times. Then the 4th time I took up admission in IIM. I cleared all 6 IIMs at that point of time. I took up IIM Ahmedabad. With a single focus, I started the company with 2,000 rupees food key. And not only that, my dream in my engineering was to create thousands of entrepreneurs, because 30 crore people I alone cannot satisfy, So I thought I should create thousands of young entrepreneurs. So after IIM, I started with 2,000 rupees. I said, what name to keep? I said, life is one. Why to be king of one particular product? Why not be the king of food? So keep Food King. So that's how Food King was born. So I started establishing in each and every city. I grown the company. In the meantime, I was getting calls to address youngsters. So I started addressing youngsters, professionals, and last year there was this TNGST in Tamil Nadu, which happened with 70,000 people. And nearly 15-20 people said, after listening to your speech in the past, I become an entrepreneur. I was a professor. Today I run a college. And there are many people who said, you started talking about startups when even Indian government was not talking about. I think this is the 10th year of Startup India which is happening. But I started 20 years back, near around about 2,000 events I have been there, 25 lakh people I have addressed. As I said, few thousands of entrepreneurs. Then in 2010, I started the Hunger Free India Foundation, where we feed lots of age-old people. We pay fees for kids and stuff like that. And 6-7 years back, I started my project in a hospital where poor patients come, their attendants come. The moment I took over the project, when I just interacted with the attender, I just asked, did you have your breakfast? Casually, I interact. So she said, no, I didn't have. I said, why? Why, what happened? It's 11:30 now. You should have had your breakfast by now. And she said, the 2 idlis is 23 rupees over here. What I could have is only a tea, which is 12 rupees. So I realized her budget is somewhere around 12 rupees. So immediately within 2-3 days, I spoke with my employees that the moment I reduce the price, you're going to have lots of work. But we are going to serve people who are of your kind. people who belong to your, same financial strata. So they said, yes, we will work hard, we'll take in few more people as employees. Then every day it was like 300 idlis that was going on. That was selling. Within 20 days we changed, and we changed it to 15 rupees, 2 idlis, 2 chutneys and sambar. And imagine like 1,200 idlis was selling, which is like another extra 200 to 300 people are coming and having food, So when business is about profits, my profit didn't change much. In fact, it increased. But when we do business with a purpose and with a passion, definitely lots of positive things would happen. Recently, I am associated with one entrepreneur, Hot Breads Mahadevan sir. Okay, he is employing around 100 autism children, acid victim women, then mentally retarded but 90-95% cured people. So he is employing in his writers cafe, in his Enter Kerala, in his various eatery houses. He is employing around 100 of these children. Imagine the plight of the parents whose children, who has autism, they think they don't have a future. But today these kids are earning, 15,000 rupees. It's not that we are doing something, of course we are doing some good service, but what's happening is, I have some experience in a regular, corporate also. It is fully air conditioned. We have like say 300, 400 people. In the past I had this experience, then when I see there, they just have little fight about, some people want to have the AC at 22, 28 or 23 degrees C, but some people wanted to have it at 27, 28 degrees C. There is always this tussle going on for like at least for a week or 2 weeks. But I was just wondering, when I entered this organization, it is only love. Everybody is working for a purpose. Everybody wants to work for themselves. It is consisting of say 5 people who have autism and 15 people who are normal people. The normal people, 15 people, they are displaying so much of love to the fellow staffs as well as to the customers. The environment, the culture, everything is totally different. I really enjoy whenever I go there. So now I'm supporting him in 10 of his units, 2 in Madurai and 8 in Chennai. So what I want to say is, in this world, there are 4 kinds of people. One who can think, that's the first category. They can only think. They can think, in a big time. And the second category is one who can think and who can act. And the third category is one who can act. And the fourth category is one who cannot think and who cannot act. But these kids are not entirely who cannot think and who cannot act. Everybody say they are like differently able people. I call them very specially able people. Whatever work we give them, they do it very sincerely and they do very effectively. So I would, lots of corporates are here. I would request, even if you could employ 1 or 2 people like this, I think the culture and the environment, instead of just saying we are for this, we are for that, if you show it in real action, I think the things will change a lot better. For Kerala, it's been 20 years, I have come many times to Kerala. And for Kerala, I want to request one thing through KMA. It's like, I want Kerala to be a dream state of the country. You have everything. You have good education, you have good resources, you have support from, Middle East and everywhere. You could be a dream state where you should be the first country to, first state to declare it's a hunger-free state. You should be the first state to declare it's no child labor state. You should be the first state to declare that anybody who wants to work, they will have jobs over here. That kind of a dream, I think the state should envision and start working on it. And I'm sure you can do it. And for young minds, I think this is the 2nd or 3rd year. Down 5 years or 10 years, I vision that young minds should be there in each and every college. They should have a chapter, NSS college, Young Minds NSS college chapter. They should have organize one-day event, a similar concept. Then the concept, really grows, and the kind of positive impact it create will be amazing. right? I mean, I thank the management for giving me this wonderful opportunity to address, and it's a pleasure coming again, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
A very warm good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais, our esteemed panelists, and everyone present here today. It's truly a privilege to be a part of this gathering of leaders, thinkers, and change makers. Our first panelist today is a leader whose journey has been shaped by a blend of hands-on technical expertise and exceptional leadership across multiple business functions. Starting her career in a challenging environment of a diesel power plant in Brahmapuram, she quickly expanded her horizons, spending time in a software firm in Mumbai before finding her true calling at Agape Diagnostics in 2001. Since joining Agape, she has held pivotal roles shaping the company's direction in areas such as HR, general management, internal audit, and supply chain. Under her guidance, Agape's HR practice were recognized with prestigious HR Excellence Award in 2019, a testament to her commitment to fostering a workplace culture of connection and employee engagement. Today, as a whole-time director and a member of the CSR committee, she continues to lead with a vision that blends operational excellence with deep commitment to people. Please join me in welcoming Meena Thomas. Our next panelist needs no introduction. He is the soul behind KMA Young Minds. He has gone above and beyond to bring us all together and to build the Young Minds community from the grounds up. He is a distinguished entrepreneur and a leader in the healthcare and management sectors. As the founder director of Medivision Scan and Diagnostic Center, Mr. Bibu Punuran has built one of South India's largest diagnostic chains with over 78 locations across Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. Did you know that Medivision was the first in Kerala to offer complete diagnostic services under one roof, setting a benchmark for quality and service excellence since 1997? Beyond his role at Medivision, he also serves as the director at Grace Globe Consultants, WIH Hospitality, and Perfect Holidays. He has also held numerous leadership positions, including that as the past president of KMA, where he launched Youth at Level Next initiative, empowering young managers in the region. Mr. Bibu is also a prominent figure in industry organizations, serving as the chair of Healthcare Committee, FICCI Kerala State Council, and a governing council member for CanCure, an NGO supporting cancer and dialysis patients. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bibu Punuran. Our next panelist is a dear friend and an exceptional leader with over 18 years of experience in IT, having worked with giants like Oracle, Bosch, and Infosys. A university rank holder in engineer and a principal product manager for Java, he was recognized as one of the Economic Times Young Leader in 2012-13 and was selected from over 20,000 people across India. Currently, as the co-founder of Zappy Hire and a Stanford seed consultant, he continues to shape the future of technology and leadership. He is also the co-chair of the Young Indians community for Kochi region. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Deepu Savior. Our next panelist is Mr. Jose, who currently heads property valuation at ICICI Bank for Kerala region. He comes from a distinguished entrepreneurial family background with businesses spanning theatres and plantations, including Universal Theatre Pala, one of the oldest theatres in Kerala. Jose is an engineer by training with a master's in construction management and research from Nikmar Pala, giving him a strong blend of technical and financial expertise. He is also an active and key member of our KMA Young Minds, contributing to leadership and knowledge initiatives within our professional community. With his mix of corporate leadership, entrepreneurial roots, and forward-looking mindset, Jose represents the new generation of young and dynamic leaders who are shaping Kerala's business and landscape. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jose.
Thank you, Anju. This panel brings together leaders who prove that global relevance can have local roots. It will be moderated by Mr. Bibu Punnuran, Director, Medivision Group and past President KMA, with the panelists Ms. Meena Thomas, Director, Agape Diagnostics, Mr. Deepu Xavier, co-founder, Zappy here, and Mr. Jose Thomas Padinyaregara, Regional Technical Manager, ICICI Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the panel, and over to the moderator, Mr. Bibu Punnuran.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, all of you. My job today is kind of not too difficult, because when I was asked to do this moderation of this panel, I personally know all of you, so it is all the more easier. So, we all know that all of you are doing great here in the state of Kerala. So, we have got this, we are blessed to be in a state, I think all of you will agree that we are blessed to be in a state like Kerala, even as compared to the rest of India, because there are so many strengths that our state has. Like we have one of the best HDIs, Human Development Index, which is probably at par with some of the best countries in the world, and it is way above the national average. There are also many other factors. Recently I was listening to our industries minister, and Kerala has ranked as one of the, as number one in the ease of doing business in Kerala, I mean in the country. And he was saying that, actually when we got that last year, when Kerala got this particular ranking last year, people said that, no, it's just political, it's just a gimmick and all that. But when we got it again in the second year, in the indices proved it. So, in that sense, we really have to, go by that. And you have people who are practically going through this, so you should be knowing that better. And when it comes to a state like Kerala, where we live, where all of us do our business, there are so many positives that we can boast about, other than just being, a pristine state or whatever. So, coming to Meena Thomas, Meena, I have been knowing you and your husband Thomas right from the beginning of the starting of your company, and the way it has grown from what it was and what it is today, 30 years later, and the kind of people that you employ, the kind of products that you bring in. On a personal level, to all of you out here, COVID times were one of the most testing times for us in this industry, because I also come from the medical diagnostics sector, and Meena's company has been a supplier to us, and it is at that point of time that we really needed their support, and we really did get that. So I acknowledge that on stage to Agape and to the medical fraternity as it is. So Meena, they've just spoken about you and told about your company. Can you please highlight or share about your journey from what it was 30 years back and to what you are today?
Thank you, Bibu. Good morning, everyone. I represent Agape Diagnostics. We are in the 30th year now. We are into the business of manufacturing diagnostics reagents and products, especially lab checking reagents and products. For your understanding, when you go to a laboratory, you check your blood sugar, your triglyceride, your cholesterol, creatinine, and there are maybe more than 250 parameters in the blood. So we manufacture those reagents and the equipment for that. We started in the year 1995 in Mumbai. For 10 years we were in Mumbai. Later, after 10 years, we moved to Kerala. For two reasons. One is to be with the parents. The second biggest reason was land was available in Kerala for expansion, and Mumbai was too expensive for us to build up our facility. And let me say that it happened to be a very good thing to move back to Kerala. Though many people said that this was a wrong decision moving back to Kerala, but for us it happened to be a very nice decision to be back to Kerala, the goat's own country. And most of our raw materials, it comes from outside India, unfortunately, as the ecosystem in India is not so supporting. It has to come from outside. So many of our vendors are from outside. They loved the Kerala, and it happened to be a good thing for us to move back to Kerala. Now we have more than 1,000 employees. As we heard before, we always say that it is nice to be in healthcare. The one reason for starting the healthcare was we started, even me and my husband, we started in Bombay. My husband especially worked in a similar organization. So there are multinationals, which is the biggest competition for us. And they used to import the second quality products to India, and the poor Indians used to buy that at a very huge price. So that was the time when we thought, why can't an Indian manufacturer manufacture multinational quality product at Indian price? We all had the thought that multinational products are good. Even now also some of the hospitals have the same thought. But then the thought was, me and my husband being an engineer, we ventured into a biochemistry business with the only thought that why can't we manufacture a multinational quality product but affordable to Indians. And now the story continues. Now in the 30th year, we stand as number 2 in India. Our first goal is to be number 1, and the second goal is to be 1,000 crore by 2027, and the third goal is to be 10,000 crore by 2035. Let me say with more happiness that last year we had a vision and mission, but then last year we all seniors sat together and wrote out a purpose, and the purpose is to care and transform lives, creating a better and healthier world. And this is the purpose. We try to inculcate the core values and the core purpose to each and every employee. And very recently we did a survey. Now we are into rebranding. We did a survey, and the best outcome was the good behavior and the good dealings of the employees. We never expected such a feedback from our customers. We have more than 60,000 customers in India, and and export to 90 countries. And the biggest compliment for us was the good behavior of the employees. And as Bibu said, during COVID, the first thing we decided was we'll pay full salary for all employees without any deduction. I still remember on the 3rd month where it was zero business, the person who prepared, the HR person who prepared the salary gave me a full sheet to signature. She was crying. She was telling that how long we'll be able to give this salary. And we got a good input from many of the employees that parents are worried as how we'll live without the salary, because the business was down. Everyone was reducing the salary payment 50% or not giving that. For 3 months we didn't had any work, so then we started, but most of the people came to office just to brainstorm what to do. So then we started with a small thermometer and then sanitizer. Everyone, starting from the CEO, including me, everyone worked on the floor just filling the sanitizer or making thermometers, packing it. We all were busy with that. So then gradually it improved. Some of the laboratories could open it. And we had a service team of 200 people. They were out in the field. Because after 3 months of non-usage of analyzer, it could not work without the help of an engineer. Everyone was in field. And gradually our reagents also started moving. But the courier was not there. So then we hired truck drivers, but then they were not willing to move out because there were no hotels, there is no food. So what happened was one of our engineer will travel along with the truck, along with the products to each and every laboratory. And the employees were staying across India. They used to give their breakfast, lunch or dinner from their home to the truck driver and to the employee. And this is how we sustained, and we got a good appreciation for the service. And as we heard, you all may be knowing D-dimer, which is a parameter to check the blockage. We supplied 70% of D-dimer and other COVID parameters during this. We closed all the export. We said that only after serving India we'll give for export. So that way we could do a good thing. And we say that we are into business, definitely profit, it matters. But then if you are into a business and if you are earning salary with lot of satisfaction, doing a welfare to the mankind, that brings life more fulfilling. So happy to say that the company name is Agape, which is a Greek word, and the word meaning is divine love. And we are very strong enough to cater the core purpose and core values to our employees and to all the stakeholders we cater. Thank you.
Thank you, Meena. That is inspirational. I'll come to you because I have my own personal stories of interaction with Agape during the COVID times, which I will come to later. But then you were talking about HR and the way you were looking after your employees, because as your customer, I also know how you have been looking after them. And so that brings us to our HR person, Deepu. Deepu, as he was introduced, we all know that he is into the HR background, and he is the managing director of Safi Hire, which kind of involves AI and HR together. So, Deepu, for his age, has gone a long way, and he is building a world-class company with offices and clients across the world. Again, since I have known him a little earlier than when we met today, I know a little more about him, but then I would like you to kind of tell us about your journey and why Kerala and how Kerala has actually transformed you, because you've worked in different countries, different continents, different entities before you started your own, and why you set shop in this state of Kerala.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Bibi, for that. So, as in the introduction, it was said that I started my career back in 2005, that is 20 years back, almost 21 years back. Before that, I was raised in a family which was like purely as an agrarian setup, I would say, because I was the first one probably in my whole family to think about, okay, let's start a business on our own. So it was all about, we were kind of raised as a family where you have to think safe. It's not about thinking about impact, thinking about change, thinking about how can you impact the policies, nothing of that sort. It's all about, get a decent education and get a job. And that was the motto that we were told when we were, raised as kids. And I think that was not a bad decision. That was not a bad way to bring up also, given the circumstances that we were in. But then, when I joined Infosys, so that was my first organization back in 2005, I would say just like any other software engineer, you just think about, three things. Primarily, you have to get a better salary. You have to go abroad. That was the notion at that time. You go on site, you see places, you earn more. And the third one was get promoted. So the promotion, on-site travel, and the salary, these are the three things that we typically think about day in and day out when you're working there. And I continued to work over there. I was working in mostly in Bangalore, Mysore. Then I went to Switzerland for 4 years. So that was the time you typically get that global exposure. And when I look back, one of the important things that I learned was that the problem that we were trying to solve was global. The team that we were used, that at least I used to work, was also global. But everywhere we had this Kerala touch. You typically say a joke, right? Even if you go to Moon, you will find a Kerala there. So that was the way, even in Zurich when I was working, even in our client environment, in our team, we had Keralites there. So that was, when you start thinking about that, now fast forward 2018, when I decided to start something on my own. The question was that, where do you start? Should you start outside the country? Decent connects out there, network is good. Should you start in Bangalore? Maybe you have a lot of talent out there. Ecosystem is much mature. The startup scene is much better there. But then somehow my co-founder and I, we used to work together. My co-founder and I, when we discussed, we thought, okay, why not Kerala? I mean, that's where our roots are. And people generally say that it is tough to do business. At least that was the notion always. You take all those examples of BMW wanted to start here, but they went out. There are a lot of stories that you always tend to hear. But then we thought, okay, let's give a try. I mean, at least if everyone starts saying about okay, Kerala is not the best place to start, startup, if you're thinking about startup and tech, you have to think outside. But we thought, let's give a try. Let's genuinely give a try for 3 years in Kerala, in Cochin. And if it doesn't work out, we always have a plan B. You move out. Nobody's going to stop you. And that was the way in which we decided that in 2018, given a chance, if we are starting up, let's start. And but again, now going back, the first time when I thought about, starting up on my own was in 2012. At that time I was, lucky enough to be participating in an event called the Economic Times Young Leader, which was a 3 to 4 months long activity and multiple rounds of evaluation. And the final round, I'm really grateful for that, opportunity that I got. I was interviewed by a CEO panel. We had Vineet Nair from HCL Technologies. So he was interviewing. And he is the one who asked this question, what do you want to do? And seriously, I didn't have an answer. I was not prepared for that. I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. That was not what I really wanted to do. At that time also, if somebody had asked me, I would say, I want a promotion, I want a salary hike. Maybe I'd try for a job in Google or Microsoft. But then I knew that was not, what was expected of me to sit in front of a CEO of HCL Technologies and say that I want a promotion, sir. That was not, that societal pressure or, that expectation is not that. So I happened to say by mistake that I want to be an entrepreneur, though it was not the intention. Then he asked me, he grilled me for the next 15 minutes and he understood that I was not prepared to be an entrepreneur. But the way he explained things, he said that you want to be an entrepreneur, point B. You are here, point A. This is what it takes to go from A to B. What are you going to do step by step, to achieve these missing blocks? Look back every 6 months or 3 months and see, did you feel anything in that? So, that thought process, and after that we had a very, very warm discussion. I told him that, sir, I never meant to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to I think that honesty or whatever he said that good, but looks like you potentially can be. And I don't know, somehow he felt good that he nominated me and I was in the Economic Times Young Leader list. But the learning that I got from there, that was to go methodical step by step, to fill each block, to review it. I think from 2012, the fag end of 2012 to 2018, it was all about that filling the blocks. Being from a middle class, you always have this, the home loans, the car loans, you all those things that you have to meet. You have to get married before so and so age. Unwanted pressures, right? Unwanted pressure, if I look back now. But these things were there. Now, the point is that at that point, I started thinking, okay, I need to have a good network. I need to be able to talk to people properly. I think the first time I spoke in front of a big audience was after starting up, I would say. Or, slightly before that. So, public speaking was there, confidence was there, financial stability was there, network was there, exposure was there. And that is when I moved away from my comfort zone, which was Infosys. I knew people there. I knew how to get things done. Even if I don't work, I knew how to get a CRR 1, a rating 1. You get the shortcuts, right? So I decided, okay, let's quit. I prepared for MBA and I got into IIM Lucknow. But then the big question, do you really need to do an MBA? Because again, it's another 1 year, it's a 1 year MBA. So I again contacted Vineet Nair, HCL Technologies. I said, sir, I got this option. Do you think I should do an MBA? He said, do if you feel you want to do, don't do if you feel you don't want to do. I decided not to go for that MBA and resigned and joined Robert Bosch. And that is when I think that product engineering mentality and how to build products world class. Everywhere again, going back, Kerala were there. The problem that we are solving, everything was like we had a local touch. And finally, I decided that, okay, now we have decent enough exposure. Things are all good. Let me just quit. And that decision, that day, I can still recollect. When I told my mom that I'm planning to quit, she was like puzzled. Why? Why do you want to quit? It's all good. I said, no, I think I'll quit. And then my co-founder and I, we sat in one of the cafes in Cochin. We discussed for one whole day. We had a plan for 18 months. This much is the cash flow that is required. This is the customers that we are planning to might get in the next 1 year. And I think it was a decent journey after that, though we had a flood, COVID, everything came in between. But I think we survived those things and now we are kind of around 100 enterprise customers, serving to customers in India, a few in Africa, a few in US, a few in Southeast Asia, around 42 employees. And primarily, we have an engineering team completely based in Cochin, and the other team is spread across the country, multiple places. And that was the journey. I think one thing which I learned the entire way was that we should not be, thinking so safe. We should not be preparing our youth for job. We should be preparing our youth for impact, and think big, not just, about solving a small problem because we are from a small place. We got experiences like that. I still remember one of the investor meetings that we had. We said, this is our valuation. And he said, why this much? We gave our own, reasoning for that and said that one of our competitor in Bangalore at the same level of, revenue that they are in, we are also almost same, so we should get that valuation. So his response was classic. He said that, no, but that's a Bangalore-based company. You're a Kerala-based company. So that is when we said, we are building for the world. Our customers are across multiple places. How does it matter whether it's a company situated in Cochin or in Bangalore? So that mentality is still there, but then there has to be effort from our side also to contribute and prove that it is wrong, right? And that's where we feel that we are doing reasonably well in saying that we are building for the world from Kerala.
Thank you, Deepu. Again, I'll come to your valuation part and, the question that was asked. By the by, I would like also to tell the audience that, I am sitting with three bright engineers here on stage. So all three of them have got an engineering background before they came into whatever they are today. So coming to you, Jose, again, I know you personally, I know you in and out, so I know what your family is. You come from a plantation background, you come from owning a few theatres, which is one among them is one of the oldest in the state of Kerala. Then your family is into film production and film distribution and all that. But then you decided to tread another line, after your engineering, you went into construction management and you took an MBA, and now you are the head of technical of the ICICI Bank. So from the different from the banking perspective and from the entrepreneurial perspective, why did you not actually venture out into your family business or into another business? That's the first question. Second question is why you're sticking on to your job right now, and then you have met many entrepreneurs because you are actually not into real banking, you are into the technical side of banking. So naturally it's clients basically who are probably entrepreneurs or industrialists. So can you throw your light on your experiences in Kerala with entrepreneurs, the way they look at banking, the way they look at entrepreneurship, and the negatives of, if any, and the positives, if any. Can you please throw us more into this?
Thank you, Vibhu uncle. So first off, on why I decided not to follow the path of my family business and choose a career in banking. Well, honestly, my family business is into plantation and theatres. So if any of you in the audience have seen the movie Animal, you might be knowing what I am thinking and what I am talking about, because I wanted to do something on my own, not go the way of my family. I wanted to prove that I can succeed in the corporate world and get an exposure to the corporate world and excel on my own. Basically not use my family background or the connections that I have, but do something on my own. So coming to why, so far as my banking experience and the way I see entrepreneurs, I see a lot of businesses like spanning from IT, construction, real estate, everything. I see a lot of people in and around. So the Kerala environment, based on my 10 years of experience in banking, I can tell you is changing. And people are looking very positively on Kerala, and the entrepreneurial spirit that I see among even the professionals in Kerala is that, okay, tomorrow I can start something on my own. yes, entrepreneurship is within reach for me as a professional. Earlier, 10 years ago, when I started off my career, everybody were choosing the safe career option of being an employee. But today, that landscape is changing. And coming to another reason why I chose the path of being of a safe career of being a professional is that so that I can learn global systems and processes, something which I feel that Kerala can do better, or based on my experience handling the family business. I feel something that can be learned is how our mom and pop stores can build in global world-class simple processes and systems so that we can scale. So that I believe is something which if you have the exposure to, you can build systems and processes that can motivate people to learn something and to take the organization forward. So that's based on my experience.
Continuing with whatever you just said, can you please cite a few good companies that you have dealt with as a manager of the, I say from your banking experience from Kerala that have done extremely well, and probably that will throw a little bit more light to the young minds sitting here, so that they could be role models. Other than, of course, Deepu is here, Meena is there, but then other than them also. If
Yeah,
you
of
don't
course.
mind.
I was gonna say, apart from Agape and Zappy Hera, a few of the remarkable organizations that I've dealt with is, of course, when you think Kerala, you always think Kerala, God's own country. And God's own country, that tagline came from tourism. And one company that has really impacted me is CGH, or Casino Group of Hotels. So if any of you have been to one of their properties, will know why I'm talking about Casino Group or CGH Group. Because what they have built, the hospitality, the impact that they have had in the hospitality sector in Kerala is huge. I have heard through KMA, I have heard the talk behind how they have built these world-class institutions in Kerala, and the thinking and the reasoning behind why they choose a lot of properties, and how they design their hotel spaces to be local but still global. So they value the cultures in and around the area, and how they design those systems. Apart from that, other few organizations which I believe are doing extremely good work are, I deal with property valuation, I deal with land and building day in and day out. I see buildings being constructed right from the day the first cement is being poured for piling. So I can vouch for two of the great organizations who are also part of KMA, that is SFS Group and Varma Homes. The products that they built, I don't know if any of you notice who you have traveled outside Kerala and see the kind of real estate and construction buildings that are coming up in Kerala is way different from that you see outside Kerala, because they have something, they are designed to be beautiful spaces. They're not just rectangular boxes. So in Kerala, that differentiation is very important, because the consumers are very demanding, and they demand that for whatever price they are giving, they should give the maximum worth. And how do they get the maximum worth? Is through quality. So quality is something that is non-negotiable for people in Kerala. And today, I see the shift happening from more of rather than a price sensitive market, Kerala is more of a quality sensitive market. So whatever the price that is, they are ready to pay for it, given they believe the quality is there. So I can vouch for these three companies because I have experienced them, and I'm truly stunned by the quality and the product that they deliver.
Yeah, thank you. I think Vinod Taragan is sitting in the first row, and I think I should be appreciating him because the moment I went into his company and, so the product, I mean, the way in which he has built up his building, and I think you should actually visit and take some lessons from him too. Not that, Arati or Teju and all, I mean, they're doing a great job, I know for sure. And CJ Chath, of course, makes Kerala proud. So thank you very much for that. And again, coming back to Meena and the COVID times, I would say, Meena, I'm really thankful to your company. So it's my personal story because as I was introduced, see, COVID just suddenly struck all of us. And then we didn't know what to do. But luckily for us at my company, Medivision, we already had something called a PCR lab, or that is what is now, PCR is now I think a very common term, but at that point of time it was not at all common, it was there only with 2 diagnostic centers across the state, and one was us. So immediately the government, pressurized us to start off this testing, and we had to start it off. And we had all the travelers, everything was shut down. But then, there was this shipping companies who had to kind of keep on moving people and transport, and also the airline companies. And I think 99% of these shipping companies and the airlines depended on our company for moving their people after doing a COVID test. So it so happened that Agape was in the process of developing a machine. They were trying to develop an indigenous machine at that point of time, and then they had imported a particular machine, and their people used to come to our place for, testings. And at that point of time, we only had one machine, and we had to serve, say, 100 customers, hundreds of, maritime customers almost every day. So it happened that that particular machine broke down, and Agape people were there with us, and immediately they informed the company, and they said, Thomas John, her husband, said, if it is for Medivision, we are moving this particular demo machine that we have just bought. And so we could save the situation in the sense that if not, at least 2 or 3 ships would have been stuck that night with the sailors on board who couldn't move out of Cochin, and that would spoil the entire schedule of the whole thing. So we were lucky in that sense, and it was the entire Agape team. I remember, I went with your people to your facility at in Kolancheri at 2 a.m. in the morning, and the machine was shifted, and we could do the entire processing. So I would like to thank you for that, and it was a great thing at that point of time, and Agape developed that particular thing. She was talking about D-dimer, which saved a lot of lives at that point of time. So coming back again to Agape, I know that you are protecting the environment. I have visited your world-class factory there in Kerala. You should understand again the crowd out here, the youngsters should understand that this is a beautiful company that has been, it's a manufacturing company employing more than 1,000 employees that is situated about, say, 20-30 kilometers from this particular venue. And there is a happiness quotient with all the employees out there, which is a big thing. And there is also the fact that, this is completely environment friendly, protected in every sense. So Meena, can you just throw a little bit more light on that on the way in which, you have actually been sticking to the environmental impact, because Kerala, as we all call it, is clean and green, and let's hope that it remains that way, because we should be concentrating on companies like medical devices, or our CGH is one good example, or this particular hotel, anything, but on tourism, on health tourism, and probably service industries like IT, and now we are hiring people from Kerala for the world through companies like Safia Hire and all that. So can you please throw us a little bit more light on your environmental initiatives to keep the place clean and green?
As I said before, when we moved back from Mumbai to Kerala, we openly said that we are from Kerala. It was a thoughtful decision that it's not that we are from South India. We said that we are from Kerala, and from sitting in Kerala, we should make the good product. And then, as I said, many of our vendors are from outside, so we got a lot of appreciation when we are sitting in the midst of a lot of rubber trees. We had a lot of rubber plantations, so we are sitting on top of that. And then we have a natural pond where for our reagents, the biggest ingredient is water, clean water. So we have a natural pond. So we thought, why don't we nurture the same thing? And so we maintain the same hill. It is like Agape, the address is like Agape Diagnostics and Agape Hills. We sit in a hill, and the terrain of the 5 acre or 7 acre is maintained like that. And other than that, when we talk about eco-friendly or sustainability, it is very close to us. It's not only the eco-friendly thing, but the process, the happiness quotient of the employees, everything matters. So we are clearly into that. We are gradually inculcating the thought of eco-friendliness, starting from removing all the plastics, all the chemicals, no wastage, everything from our organization. And I believe sustainability is not only in eco-friendly things which we see by a naked eye, but then complying with the all regulations, the compliance, the cleanliness, the perfection of and the affordability of the products given, the service given, everything brings an organization to a sustainable way. It is not easy to maintain an organization in the same passion or with a little more improvement in every year. So everything brings, I personally take up the challenge of sustainability, eco-friendliness and all. Bringing good process to the organization, good governance to the organization, very transparent, very truthful, not over committing anything to the customers or to the employees. And we say that when you are in the organization, it's not that the people should remain with the organization for many long years, but whenever you are in the organization, work for yourself, not for the organization. It definitely brings benefit to the organization, but work for you, so that even if you move out of this organization to some other organization for a better future, that helps them. And profitability, and as we said, that is not only the motto, but then we say that if you reduce the cost of anything, this has to be transferred to the customers, especially to the Indians. And this is how we make a clear ecosystem in the organization. We say that money can bring in building or money can bring in good machinery, but money cannot bring in committed, loyal employees. So we in our organization try to create good employees who are very loyal to the organization and very passionate. And add on to that, we are not just so much a workaholic. Our HR is very good, and we have a lot of initiatives from HR throughout for all celebrations. It is like college days for us, one complete day for Diwali, one complete day for Onam, Christmas and all. It brings a lot of passion and energy. We have a lot of competitions where we bring judges from outside. We have the fitness competition. So we keep employees close to us, not only because the salary or the perks are good, but then a good work culture has to be maintained. So I believe that it is not the eco-friendliness, it is the overall sustainability of the organization which keeps the organization and the employees sustainable and close to us.
Thank you, Meena. I think Jojo has been raising the red flag for want of time, so I'll make it very short right now. So thank you very much for your, your insights onto environment as well as employee friendliness. But as a last question, I would like to ask this to Deepu, because you're into HR. This balance between, the employee friendliness, the salary impact of the whole thing, and also the environment, all that, you probably are facing that on a global level because when you're employing people. Can you throw us in just probably about a minute, can you just throw it to the audience, please?
Yeah, sure. I think to keep it real short, as Meena ma'am said, right, it's not really required for an employee to be really loyal because that time is gone. It's not like loyal, right? You want people to be passionate about what they do. So end of the day, even when we, as a very small organization, when we hire, we ask them, what do you want to be after 3 years or after 5 years? And then you try to align their work with their aspiration. So then they are not working for the organization, they're working for themselves, right? So end of the day, I mean, there was a time when people used to say that there is nothing like a work-life balance, it's only work-life integration. But I don't know, I mean, it's a different school of thought. But end of the day, what we believe in, and I think there are a lot of organizations that now believes in the fact that you need to give time to the employees for their activities, their hobbies, their passion. And you can't expect that, the 17 to 18 hours of work has to be put in for the organization. That just doesn't work. But there are people, I mean, we shouldn't discount the fact that there are still a segment of employees who are really, with a lot of fire that we want to put that 17 hours because I want to grow, I want to learn. So you should have an ecosystem for them, but also there will be another 70 to 80% who are like looking at it as a work. I mean, there is nothing wrong in that, right? I mean, as long as they're delivering what they're expected, you can't expect the 100% of the workforce to be that 17 hours type of resources. You can't just believe in that. Another thing that you can potentially, that works in favor of us is, it is not just about salary. It's also about, the total reward policy. So end of the day, when you say about total rewards, there is something more than salary that employees work for. Even taking the term employees also is not really right, I would say. Team, right? When you're talking about a team, what is the total rewards? The opportunity that you give for your team to grow. The salary, of course, it's a critical factor. The growth opportunity. The insurance that you give, maybe you give say around 20,000 rupees for upskilling per year. That's what we do. So now if you come up with a real good course that they want to do in that next 1 year, we reimburse that. And during the COVID time, I remember we were still like, okay, we will try to get a slot for you for COVID vaccination. We got one in Atlex. We ensured that all our employees get that first slot as and when it was available. And then transportation for that. So those small things, right, more than salary. And that is what your employees, your team stays with you. And end of the day, I would leave it at one line that you treat your employees so well that they should not feel like leaving the organization, but every other employer should feel like hiring them. So you create that balance, and I think that is the best way to leave it, right? And empower them. Don't worry that you expose them too much that they leave the organization. You expose them too much that they don't feel like leaving the organization. So that is where I would say that work-life, that employee friendliness should stay.
Thank you. I think for want of time, I think we'll have to wind it up here. Thank you. So I think we are leaving this panel with this beautiful thought that, employees should be empowered. At the same time, we should sustain our planet. And that is what life is all about. That is what business is all about. For the youngsters sitting out there and the YMs sitting out here, you're free to interact with all three of them after they come off stage, because I'm sure that, they are role models for you to engage yourselves in business later on in life. So I would urge everyone, because when we started this Young Minds initiative in KMA, the one of the major agenda behind that was to also see that our people, our youngsters are retained back in Kerala through the role of entrepreneurship or corporate life. So I think people like these, all three of them are role models for you. You can interact with them later. So once again, I would like to thank you, Meena, Jose and Deepu for being with us today evening. Thank you for having accepted our invitation.
Thank you, esteemed panelists, for this interactive panel discussion.
But great. I like how you guys are here. Amazing, man. I was really Young Minds. It's this whole program is beyond my expectations. Yeah, I was expecting young people, but you guys are beyond it. Correct. Yes, I knew someone would say that. So I know whose mind is young. Yeah, you guys are very smart. I performed for young Indians before. Yeah, they got that wrong. Yeah, you guys are pretty smart, young minds. Yeah, that's how you save it. You know, it's good. And it's nice. You know, I walked in here. Actually, it's Nivedit and Anup who asked me to do a performance. I strongly recommended against that. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay. But it's nice. I walked in here, you know, they were like, do you have a invitation? I said, yeah. Nivedit called me. And they're like, who's Nivedit? And I'm like, I don't know. Someone called that guy. he was sitting here, okay. I couldn't find him. And, you know, I was like, but, you know, thankfully they let me in. But great, man, great. It's good to be here. So before I start, I just want to ask you guys, like, all are Malayalis here? How many Malayalis? Anyone who doesn't know Malayalam? Yeah, that's obviously. Ma'am, it's very, don't raise your hand. I can understand. If I thought you were Malayali, I shouldn't be doing this, you know. So if I say some jokes in Malayalam and people are laughing, you laugh with them, okay? Don't get it wrong, because then you will look bad, okay? Then people are like, why are you laughing alone? Then that's something else. So it's good, yeah. Because it's very hard to find Malayalis in Kerala, yeah. When I want to do jokes in Malayalam, I go to Bangalore, you know. Most of us are there, yeah. The other day I was in Vaitla. I was part of a road rage. You know, one guy on the bike, he was a Bihari, he cut my car. I got pissed, I shouted at him. He got pissed. He said, bloody Mallu, go back to Bangalore, you know. And I was going to Bangalore only. I'm like, how did this guy know this? It's hard. It's very hard. You know, people ask, my friends were like, you know, in Karnataka, they are saying speak in Kannada. In Maharashtra, they're saying speak in Marathi. They're like, why are Malayalis not saying anything? I'm like, they're not there to say. You know, Bengalis are telling us, Mon Malayala ariyao. I was like, korche ariyao. You know, it's hard. But Kerala is a great place. Very touristy place. All the tourists here are Malayalis only. Coming back to their house. You know, it's great. But I think the best place I saw here is Kozhikode. Okay. Kozhikode, people say a lot. Biryani, beach, everything is great. But there's one more thing I found out there. Great. Auto drivers, they have like the best auto drivers in the country. Great, yeah. Wherever I went, he was charging me only 30 rupees. I got down railway station to the venue, 30 bucks. Venue to the beach, 30 bucks. Beach to the hotel, 30 bucks. I'm like, he doesn't know another number or what's happening here? I felt bad. I said, Cheta, you give 60 bucks. And he's like, okay, but I'll drop you back. And I'm like, wow, such a nice guy. Yeah, because I'm telling you, Bangalore, you go, they charge 500. He charged me 500 and showed me where to go. He was like, there, that's where you go. I was like, don't take me. What is happening here? It's crazy, man. But it's all good. So I'll ask, how many of you know who I am? At least, wow, one guy, two guys. Nivedit, you called me. You can't be like, I don't know you. Sir, you know? Yeah, you also, I know. He always comes to Young Minds quietly with all the young people. And then I have to point out, hey, are you young? Yeah, but no, people who actually know me, they'll never raise their hand. You see, this guy who came with me didn't raise my hand, didn't raise any hand. Okay, it's been like this from the start. From the time I was born, doctor is like, whose child is this? And my parents were like, don't look, otherwise we'll have to take him home. Okay, and then my mom took me, and she was like, I wanted a girl, but what is this? And then she gave it to my dad. My dad is like, I wanted a boy, but what is this? And I'm like, hey, I wanted parents. Like, what is this? Yeah, they have been torturing me for a long time. Like, they send me to school. Can you imagine that? Yeah. How many of you been to school? Wow, yeah. That wasn't supposed to be answered, man. But, yeah. But it's crazy. School, I'm telling you, one thing I hated in school is this thing called the parent-teacher meeting. Yeah, you guys know. Where all the people who hate you decide to meet each other. Your parents and the teacher, okay, and they will say stuff about you in front of you only. I'm like, at least send me outside, you know. And the teacher always had one complaint: he talks too much in class. I'm like, I have the same complaint about her. She talks more than me in class. Okay, it's hard, man. It's hard. Like, it's very hard actually. And do you guys think doing stand-up is hard? Like, you guys, yeah. At least one guy thinks great. And you know what's even harder? It's even harder explaining to parents what you do for a living. That's very hard. Yeah, my father gets it wrong all the time. Like one day he told the guest, like, even mimicry. Yeah, guest gets very like, the second time we were at a party, he told his friends, this guy does startup comedy. And I'm like, no, he's like, his son is also in startup, you guys can be friends. I was like, no, that's not how it works. Third time he completely forgot. Third time he told the guest, he's like, even 11, Mateda. Guest also is like, ayyo. Like, check-in kanda paraythilla keto. And now I finally explained to him, I'm like, this is what happens. This is why I took him to a show. He knows. Now I have the biggest problem because now when guests come home, he'd be like, beta, tell one joke to uncle. And I'm like, uncle, matera. It's not. Yeah, it's hard. Sir, you're laughing too hard for that, huh? But that's not the only hard things I have in life, dude. I'm telling you, I went to work, Yeah, that's, you guys had 3 brilliant engineers here just before me. I'm the other end of it. I'm also an engineer, and this is what I do now. Yeah, don't get motivated by what I do, please. Yeah, otherwise I'll lose my job. Yeah, it's people ask me how stand-up comedians make money. I'm also searching for it. I don't know. Okay, it's very hard. Wow. Okay, that joke you got. Okay, great. And no, because see, they call us. Mainly we make money when people call us for private events, corporate events. But those events, I'm telling you, one guy called us for his father's 85th birthday. That's how much he hated his dad. Yeah, I went there. There was that uncle and all his friends were 85-year-old, just like this functionally. And yeah, I was performing there, and I could see one uncle remove his hearing aid. I'm like, wow, he could just switch me off by removing it, he didn't have to leave the hall. And I was like, I can see that, I'm not like you, I can see that far, okay. But this is not even the end of it. Towards when I was leaving the function, I thought, I'll go to him, I'll ask uncle, did you like the show, it's a old guy. So I was like, uncle, like, show ishtapetto. He was like, no, and I'm like, who sang, man? Now I'm going for his 86th birthday. This is how we make money. I don't know, stand up or no, it comes somewhere there. But how many of you have taken a resolution this year? Anyone? All of you must have taken something. Yeah. What did you take, Nivedit? You didn't take. You forgot. Okay. Hungover still. Okay. Nice. No, but I took. This year my resolution is to lose weight. It's been that resolution since 2016. Okay. It's great, and it's not like I didn't try. My first attempt was when I saw Telebrands. Okay. You guys know Telebrands? They had this Sona slim belt. You could wear it and it'll shake your fat away. And it was amazing. Yeah, I believed it because there was an American speaking in Hindi to convince me. Yeah, he was like, "Pehle mein bahut mota hua karta tha." I was like, "Mediga." And then I bought the belt for 999 rupees. It came home, and then I realized that the belt doesn't fit me. So now I have to lose weight. To lose weight using this belt. Okay. So I went for yoga, and yoga is amazing, man. Yoga, they show like in the poster, they'll show like all women. You go there, it's you and 5 uncles, and you're like, huh? I'm like, mottam batch vandile. They're like, no, this is the whole batch, man. I was like, where are those girls? I'll come for that batch. It's crazy. And they take you 5 in the morning. He took me to the beach. He was like, Vishnu, sit down, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, relax. I'm like, I was doing this when I was sleeping. Why did I pay to come here? And then I'm telling you, last final attempt, my dad was like, you have to go to the gym and work out. And I'm like, okay, cool, And he dropped me, he was very supportive. He said, don't work hard, don't come back until you look like the gym instructor. Now the gym instructor looks like me. We have joined a new gym, okay. But speaking about problems, before I go, I'll tell you guys this. So last year I got married, okay. Yeah. How many married people? Yeah. Don't clap, Nivedit. See, married people didn't clap. They know what's going on. Okay. Yeah, it's very hard, I'm telling you. It's like my mom, first of all, she like when you're 33 and not married in India, people panic. They're like, hey, I'm like, Jeevidam. I'm like, oh, that's okay. That's cool. Yeah. My mom, I'm telling you, I'll explain what kind of a person my mom is. My mom is always paranoid, thinking her biggest fear is that I'll get kidnapped. Me. I'm 34 and jobless. I should be the one kidnapping. Okay. Yeah, she was like, when you go to Bangalore, be careful. I'm like, why? She's like, when you're an Uber, what if he puts something in the AC and you faint and then he'll kidnap you? I'm like, oh, then won't he also faint if it's in the AC? There was 2 minutes silence in the room because she didn't know what to say. Then she was like, and I'm like, hey. And then, she was like, life is not a game. You have to get married. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then she took me to this guy called the Kanyan. You guys know Kanyan? The guy who plays Ludo and decides your future. Yeah, amazing guy. He was like, "Munde perunda." I'm like, "Vishnu, I'll take yellow." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I know." Like, and then he rolled the dice. He made moves. So I also made moves. And they're like, "You can't move." I'm like, "It's my life, man. I need to get 2 moves at least. What is this?" Okay. But the biggest confusion, I'll tell you guys this, is when a North Indian Jyotish comes and he'll be like, "Mone kundali derivo." And I'm like, "Anundaram batla." You know. Anyways, that's been my time, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have been a great audience. And so before I go, I'll just, can I do that announcement about the festival? Yeah, thank you, thank you. So, we are a group called Comedy Launch. We have been active in Kerala for a decade now. Our main aim is to, nurture upcoming stand-up comedians so that they don't have to move out to Mumbai and Bangalore and all that. So after a decade now, finally, we have actually planned and we are trying to execute Kerala's first stand-up comedy festival in April. It's going to be a month-long event. We have comedians coming down from all over the country, and also we have 5 or 6 local comics in that lineup. And so we are actually actively looking for sponsors for this event. So if anyone's interested, you guys can have a word with me. I'll be around. And also, you guys have been a great audience, man. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Move back to serious business. To introduce our next keynote speaker, may I invite Mr. Johnson Matthew, our managing committee member, to introduce the next speaker.
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm extremely happy to introduce the keynote speaker, Professor Haley Harrison. Professor Haley Harrison is a seasoned professional with extensive experience in operations and business management. Currently serving as the Senior Vice President of Operations at CEO NextGen from February 2021. Professor Haley previously held the position of Vice President of Business Operations at Instructional Connections LLC since January 2018. Additional roles include academic coach at the University of Southern Indiana and adjunct professor of economics. Previous experience also encompasses positions as Senior BSc AML Systems AVP at Old National Bank and Senior Commercial Real Estate Risk Analyst Banking Officer at M&T Bank. Professor Haley holds a Master's in Arts in Applied Economics from the Buffalo State University and a Bachelor's from the University of South Indiana. With this brief, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Sustainable transformation demands balance, not just in markets, but in human lives. It's my privilege to invite Professor Haley Harrison, Professor of Economics, University of Southern Indiana, USA, to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I'm just waiting for the presentation to come up. You guys figure that out. I will address you guys. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to come speak today. I'm honored to be here. I am lucky to get to visit Kochi often. As was stated, I am the Senior Vice President of Operations, which actually, it says CU NextGen up there, which is the U.S. part of ClaySys. So I get to come here quite frequently, and I have a very large team of individuals that I work with that are headquartered right here in Kochi. And so it is an honor to get to come here and talk to the young minds that are centered here and have this discussion. I'm going to present to you guys today a conversation that I'm having with my colleagues and my students over in the United States, and I really hope that you guys become part of the conversation as well and give your thoughts, your feedback, and see what you guys think, because I think this is a conversation that we should be having across the globe. To start out, I'm going to give you a little bit of my background and how I even got into this conversation. So it really started back when I was in the 9th standard. So in the United States, you make a decision when you're in the 9th, 10th, and 11th, 12th standard of what degree you're going to leave the 12th standard with. So you can get the basic one, a little bit better than basic, and then the hard one. And so I thought that's what you should do, is get the difficult one. And so that's what I went after, which essentially means harder classes. A lot of math, a lot of science type of a thing. So I left the 12th standard with the difficult, hard degree, and I immediately went into undergrad, and I got an undergrad in economics, statistics, and math. Why? Because I thought I should, right? It sounds hard, that makes me sound good, let's do that. Immediately following that, I went to my master's degree, and at that time, I wanted to do again what I thought I should do. You're going to hear this a lot. This is a lot of what I call box checking, right? I'm following the rules. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I was getting my master's degree at the same time as working in a lot of the large commercial banks in the United States. Why did I do that at the same time? Because I thought I should, right? I was trying to build that resume and follow those, the rubric, right? The rule book of what you're supposed to do. And what I realized as I got near the end of my master's program, so the program that I was in, at the end of it, you write a book and you publish it. You write a thesis. And I was going through the end of this process, and I'm writing this book, and I'm also working in this commercial bank. And I kind of have this moment where I'm looking at everything I've learned over the last, decade, and I started teaching at the same time. And actually this year I will celebrate 12 years of teaching, which is exciting, and still getting to work with the youth and both in the undergraduate, and now I also teach graduate students. And I had this moment of not really understanding, because nothing that I had learned had anything to do with what I was actually doing in my day job. And I was very confused, because I had spent all this time in school, and all the different degrees, and all the should-do areas, and all the difficult areas. I had checked all the boxes, and didn't make sense, right? And just a little bit of backstory, at that time, I was working in the bank as an analyst, so I did a job that sounds like it should involve math. It did not. It involved a lot of copying and pasting numbers in Excel. And so at that time, it really became clear to me there seems to be a disconnect. I wasn't sure why. I didn't know what to do with that. But there was just this almost voice in the back of my head that would bug me of, this isn't right. This is something you should pay attention to. This is something you should lean into. But I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know how to fix it. And I didn't know really where the problem was. But I knew there was an opportunity. And that was right around the time that I think I realized this quote that my colleagues and I state often, which is that everything is suboptimal. And that's where the opportunity lies. So what I mean by that is, I think when we're young, we grow up and we don't understand this concept. We're taught, or I definitely was, or I felt, that everything was figured out. So I'm a mom. I have 2 sons. One is 9 and one is 6. My 9-year-old is very in his head, loves academia, loves school, loves what we do at our company. He, at this point, thinks he's going to grow up and work there. We'll see. But in the software world, we often deal with AI every day. And recently he said to me, Mom, and he's completely serious. He's like, Mom, when I grow up, I won't have to solve any other problems, right? Because you guys will be done. I'm like, you're going to be lucky if we've solved any of them by the time that you're there, right? But as a child, that's so true. you look at the world around you and you think everything's solved, right? Your parents have it figured out, the adults have it figured out, everything that you're being taught in school is accurate and correct, and it's 100% on the mark. There's nothing else that you can lend to the conversation, but that's simply not true. So I started realizing this when I told you guys that, you know, I'm ending my master's and things aren't clicking, because I realized in my career the stuff I was doing was not optimal. And I'm working at some of the largest banks in the United States, right? So arguably very successful companies, and we were doing nothing that made any sense. It just didn't, right? And I was like, we're paper pushing. This cannot be effective. But you're really asked to fit into the system. Just be a cog in the wheel. You're not asked to lean in and help create a solution or change. And so that started me thinking, why are we all okay with this? How did we all get here, right? And I think that when you look at the systems, it's how you were taught to step into them, right? And this led me to this first principles thinking, which I'm going to get into the definition of that in a minute. But when you break down things at their fundamental elements, not what you were told was true, but when you break them down to actual truths. So when you're on a job and someone's training you, and they tell you, you do this because that's what we've always done. That's not a fundamental truth. That is just what they are saying to you. Fundamental truths are mathematics, physics, things like that. When you break things down, what you'll see is almost everything around us is suboptimal. Let me give you an example of this. For about 2,000 years, people thought the world was flat. The world is 100% not flat, but we did not know that. If you don't think of things in a first principles perspective, and you just go with what others tell you is true, we never would have got there, right? So this is something that I started picking up, okay? And I was like, this has got to be important, but I couldn't quite figure out how. So what this really led me to is I kind of continue to fumble my way through. And this becomes very important because I hit a point in my career where, quite frankly, I was just extremely unhappy. So I'd done all the things, I checked all the boxes, I did everything right, and I still just wasn't happy. Why is this important? When you look at yourself, or your kids, or your friends, or your family, what do you want for anybody? Yourself, your kids, your friends, your family. Happiness, purpose, right? When myself and my colleagues kind of zoom out in the world, we really believe that a human being has three components where problems and happiness all kind of rotate around. And we have this concept of this three-legged stool. Financial health, physical health, and mental health. These are the three legs of where your problems can arise, okay? And honestly, if you guys can think of another one, please come find me. We love to have this conversation. We want you a part of this conversation, and we're always up for debate on it. Why is this important? Because when I was analyzing my own happiness and all these boxes I had checked and everything's kind of suboptimal and I'm out in the world and I didn't really have a grounding, right? I knew what I was feeling, but I didn't know how to fix it, I didn't know how to sort through it, and I didn't know what to do with it. What was happening was I couldn't keep my stool stable, but I didn't know why. So the million-dollar question is, how do you keep this thing stable, right? Well, step one might be to teach that there even is a stool, right? In modern education, we don't really teach this at all. Why? Well, I think step one might be that the education system is a little off. So currently in the educational system, we teach, and this is my opinion, by reasoning by analogy, not reasoning by first principles. So reasoning by analogy is focusing on, I'm going to tell you this is the truth, so we're all going to go along with it, right? Again, the world is flat, I say it's flat, go with it's flat, everybody move on. This is that box checking thing, right? I talk to my kiddos about this all the time. Like I said, they're 9 and 6. Their teacher's going to tell them something, they're going to go with it. They come home, they've memorized it, I'm going to ask them why, they're going to have zero clue. It happens every day. I'm like, okay, why is that the way a triangle's built? I don't know. Did you learn? No. Okay, right? This is how I think the current educational system is built. Why is this a problem? Because later on in life, do you have the tools to stable that stool? Probably not. Reasoning by first principles teaches you to break down things to their fundamental truths and then build them up from there, right? Which gives you the ability to understand how to fix the things that are suboptimal, how to become part of the conversation, how to step into knowledge, right? And how to essentially build a more optimal outcome for yourself, others around you, the world, right? So this is a graphic that I really like when it comes to this. Essentially, kind of reasoning by analogy is how it's always been: common beliefs, assumptions, traditions. It's built on shaky ground, right? Where first principles is proven data and then building it up from there. What I think is really important about this is going to change. As human beings evolve, as our, physical globe evolves, things change. Question it. Go back to it, right? A great example of this, and you're going to think I'm crazy, is outlets. Hang on with me for a second. I know you think I'm weird. But electrical outlets that are in the wall, okay? Do you know the last time that was roughly changed? The turn of the century was the last time that, the face of an outlet was changed. Literally 1900. I had to look that up. We have changed so much what we use in electrical outlets since 1900, right? We have cell phones now, we have computers, and normally there's that big block, that large charger that you use. How many times do you have a sofa or a bed or a piece of furniture that you push up against an electrical outlet and it ruins the cord or anything else? That's suboptimal, right? But we don't teach kids to lean into stuff like that. We don't teach them to be an active participant in figuring out how to fix things, right? That's a problem. So this is kind of an example. If you don't know, that lovely formula is the quadratic formula. Why do I still remember that? Because I have way too many math degrees that don't matter. Do I actually understand what that thing does? Nope, but I remember it. What I did with that on a test is I had about 7,000 different versions of, they would change a number in b squared and I had to solve for that. And then they would take out a and c, and then I had to figure out what a and c should be. And then they would change the minus b, and I'd have to figure that out. And I did that over and over and over. And I got those all right. Yay, go me, right? I have no idea what that equation really means. Not a clue, don't ask me. But I do have a lot of math degrees, but I don't know what that means, right? That doesn't make sense. That's crazy, right? But that's how the current educational system is set up. Why are we memorizing, right? We need to really understand the concept. Another great example of this is how money is created. So, as was said in my intro, I am an economist, and I have been teaching economics for about 12 years now. And this was brought to my attention about 6 years ago now, where a colleague of mine, who's actually sitting in this room, asked me the question. By the way, this colleague is not an economist. Haley, how is money created? And I looked at this person like they were crazy. And I said, the government creates it. Same thing every textbook has said about economics for the last 50 years. And turns out, not really, right? But I've been teaching this wrong. Economists have been teaching this wrong. It's actually the banks. That's a long story. We'll get into that later. But what's important is that we have these conversations, that we start questioning the fundamental truths, even if they're in every textbook across the globe. Why are we not asking these questions? We don't even teach kids to ask them. We just teach, do it, memorize it, don't question it, right? So why does this matter? Because it leads to 9th standard grade Haley. Get the hard degree, get the next hard degree, get the next hard degree, get the certain job, get the certain car, get the certain house, check the boxes, follow the steps. But I did that, and I wasn't happy, and I didn't feel value. And I wasn't helping anybody. And I didn't like it. Somebody at the panel said earlier, we need to set up the youth to make an impact. And I love that. Because that's what I wasn't doing. I wasn't making an impact. I checked the boxes. I did all the things I was supposed to do. But I wasn't making an impact. And that wasn't worth my life. I didn't want that for my life. I didn't want that for my fellow humans. I wanted to do more, right? I want my kids to do more. I want everybody to do more because it feels better when you do more. It's not about money. It's not about the car. It's not about the type of life and the way that it looks, right? It's about the impact. But you're not taught this. Reasoning by analogy is going to teach you to check the box. Not ask if it's the box you should be checking, why the box exists, what the box is going to lead you to, right? So we're back to the stool again, right? We're currently not even teaching there is a stool. Mild problem. We should probably start there. But how do we teach that there is a stool? And then how to steady the stool? So it's funny, all of these images that you see here, full transparency, I personally did not create them. I talked to ChatGTP and it created them for me. I did this with my 6-year-old son and he helped me with it. His favorite image is that one. He liked that one. And we were talking about a kiddo in his class after this image was created. And this kiddo had ended up pushing another child on the playground. They're 6. There's a lot of drama, you know. And my 6-year-old, totally unprompted, is telling me this story. And he says to me, Mom, his stool's unstable. And I'm like, what? And he said that blue piece. He couldn't remember that it said mental health. But he remembered that was the brain color. And he said his blue piece is off. And I'm like, yeah. Because the kid was upset, pushed another kid. Right? And I'm like, yes, Graham. Correct. His stool was unstable. Right? But we're not teaching people this stuff. What happens when you're in a discussion with a colleague, you're at work, someone reacts a certain way, now you're in this political grumpy debate, right? If you have tools like this, and you can understand, take a step back, take a breath, understand what that person's coming from, right? We have a better ability to make an impact if we can understand these concepts, and if we invite the youth to be a part of solutions. Everything's suboptimal. The world is full of suboptimal pieces that they can be a part of changing, helping, but we have to explain that. Don't just bring them into the world and be like, this is how it is, this is how it works, we've already figured it all out, sit here and be a cog in the wheel. No, come help us rebuild the whole thing, because it's suboptimal. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce the next panel to you. Apologies, I was outside in an immersive conversation with one of the panelists, and I did not hear the announcement. Okay, so let me start with the moderator for this panel. Our moderator is Dr. Kalyani Vallath, and she's a person who blends academia with entrepreneurship. She's the founder of Vallath Education and Total English Solutions, through which she has been taking quality English education to centers across India, especially in remote and underserved communities. She's the mind behind major encyclopedias, which these encyclopedias are on British, American, and Indian literature and make complex knowledge accessible to Indian learners. Now, that's an example to all of us why entrepreneurship succeeds when we identify a gap and find a solution. Beyond this, she's an editor, she's a researcher, she's a theater enthusiast, and someone who brings mime, humor, emotion into the classroom. So learning doesn't have to be boring, and with her passion for literature, passion for education, and making serious topics enjoyable, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about hunger panels. This is a session which you wouldn't want to miss. So please join me in welcoming our moderator, Dr. Kalyani Vallath. Well, our next panelist is a true edupreneur and ecosystem builder, Mr. Tom Joseph. With a decade of experience in education and skilling across India and globally, he is a founding member of ISDC. That's a UK-based education and skills company that works with professional bodies and universities worldwide, and he continues to serve on the boards of several ISDC entities in India and UK. We were catching up in the coffee break, and I came to know that he spends only few days in a month in India and the rest of the time in UK. He represents ISDC at global bodies like the Institute of Analytics, the AI Society International. He's a strong advocate himself for design education, serving on the board of the Executive Council for the World Design Council, and very interestingly, a founding member of the Bangalore Design Festival. So maybe we should have a Kochi edition sometime. In India, he's part of the senior leadership team at Jain University as a director of new initiatives, where he helps shape future-ready strategies for the group, and a co-founder for USDC. That's one of India's leading online design facilitators. Well, beyond education, this was another coffee time discussion when I asked him, what are your hobbies? And he says he spends all his time as an early stage investor. So here is a person who is breeding startups along with his interest in farming. Represents the vivacious youth along with all his interests in education, entrepreneurship, innovation, and creating an impact. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Tom Joseph. The next panelist, and that is one of the reasons, official reason why I walked in up here late, is a person who has been, he's quiet, but he has been very powerfully reshaping how young people in Kerala learn technology. Mr. Meher MP, also known as Musa Meher MP. He is the co-founder and CEO of Tinker Hub Foundation. That is a Kerala-based non-profit which is building maker communities, building the hackathon mindset, and the open source culture across engineering colleges in the state. Well, what makes his journey really special is that he started when he was still a student. He set up these Tinker spaces in colleges which enabled peer learning beyond classroom. And then he took that movement statewide through hackathons, maker events, initiatives like Useless Project. Goes on to prove that innovation doesn't really have to change the world, it just has to start somewhere. And that spark has spread far and wide. And before Tinker Hub, he was also a startup founder. He had been building apps. He has organized hundreds of tech and maker events. And today, it is Tinker Hub alumni who are winning hackathons, scholarships, and building startups of their own. And he believes that access to technology and joy of creating should not be limited to geography and privilege. I did ask him, what is it that interests him outside work? And he was talking about he's just come back after spending days attending an upasana. So goes on to show that one needs to be reflective, one really needs to be at peace with the entire ecosystem. And if you want to see what the future of tech talent in Kerala looks like, well, you will be meeting people who are building it. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Meher MP. In Kerala, in technology, and outside the state, of course, and globally, it's a pleasure to introduce Mr. Sushant Kurunthil. He's the CEO of InfoParks Kerala, a man who is bringing together his deep technology expertise, his entrepreneurship, the passion for entrepreneurship, and building an ecosystem. As the CEO of InfoParks, he's driving IT revenues, employment growth across the state, been in the news for the expansion plans, the absolutely riveting picture of the future that we are all looking forward to. And I am an InfoPark citizen myself. Well, with over 30 years of experience in the global IT industry, he is himself a serial entrepreneur who has built, developed, incubated several offshore development centers, managed remote teams for US companies, founded two startups, and of course created various well-known world-class software projects, consulted for organizations around the world. He comes with an MBA from San Jose State University. Before that, a degree in engineering from the Government Engineering College, Trichy. Well, with his reputation for building high-performance teams, shipping products, engaging CXOs at the next level, he represents that perfect bridge between technology, entrepreneurship, and scalable impact. And if you're wondering which steering wheel he enjoys when he's not pushing Kerala onto the technology highway, it is, he said, the wheels of his Pajero Sport. Driving is something which he enjoys the most and something which he uses to relax. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sushant Kurunthil. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. This panel
With these brilliant entrepreneurs and people who build the future of Kerala. And I'm also excited to have just listened to Professor Harrison's speech, because she spoke about a lot of things that I started my entrepreneurial journey from. I, as a student and a young professional, felt the same disconnect, and I found it to be an opportunity. Well, that is where our conversation today in this panel should also begin from. A lot of students are excited about their journey forward. They're excited about their learning, but when they come into the real field of professions, they feel this disconnect. They have to start all over again. They feel the skill gap. We have been trying to bridge this skill gap for, I don't know, for always. We have been trying to do that, and now we are in the phase of national education policies, changes that are promised to us. How do you really come to a stage where we no longer have the skill gap, where we can harness the power of the youth, the young minds, and flourish? The industries can flourish based on their innovations in practical terms. That is the first question that is there, obviously. So let me start from education. Tom, can you reflect on this? And I can see that you have tried a lot of new initiatives. Can you tell us more about it? And can you tell us what are the practical solutions that you have tried out?
Hello. Thank you, Kalyani, for this question. In fact, we have been talking about the skill gap for decades. I think I should rephrase it a different, question. And what is expectation gap? And what exactly the industry is expecting and what exactly we are producing from our institutions. This is something, and we may have to find a solutions. See, as a provider, see, our role is basically in the ecosystem. How do we supply the consistent talent pool to the industry? It can be any domains, any sector that matters. And how do we keep it timely, relevant graduate? And the relevance is very important here. The world is changing, the industry is changing, the society is changing, and the kind of required skill set, what exactly the so-called stakeholders, right, from the society to the industry, expecting from the institutions, changing, minute to minute, I should say that considering that the changes happening in the so-called ecosystem. It's all about how do we keep the education system more agile, and how do we keep it more proactive, and by taking the right inputs from all the stakeholders. This is something missing in our the so-called education system, because we have a syllabi and we have something in place which has been drafted a couple of decades back, and this has been changed very recently. And in fact, the kind of autonomy and flexibility given to the institutions, when it comes to us, Jain, as a private university, we enjoy a lot of flexibility and autonomy. When it comes to the kind of the courses that we design, see, and most of the offerings in the state is no more relevant, I should say that. So we are now more into a degree awarding business, which has gone. People, the students come to the university and campus and sit in the class for a couple of years, 2 years or 3 years or even 4 years and 5 years, and waiting for a degree. That time has gone. For getting any knowledge, they have the best, the available and the kind of device available with them, and they don't need to go to the campus. It's all about, how do we sell a best experience to them? How do we tailor-make them? How do we keep them, motivated throughout the journey and create the best resources for the industry? I think, the practice we adopt in the university and most of the private players adopt. And how do we invite industry as a part of the system and listen to them and find out their expectation? It's all about how do we, make a pizza. And the industry is looking for different kind of resources, and it's all about customizing your degree and what exactly the IT industry is looking for, what exactly the kind of shared service is looking for. And that may vary from industry to industry, that may vary from the companies to company. And now the age of customization. How do we customize your degree? By taking the inputs from the relevant stakeholders and your future recruiters, and design your degree based on the inputs that keeps the students, and we can produce timely relevant graduate that can go to the industry without wasting any time. This is exactly the industry is looking for. I think for reducing this gap, it's all about how do we involve them as a part of our day-to-day business, and rather than just going to the conferences and attending the seminars, or like getting them for one of the this kind of events happening in the university. How do we involve them as a part of our day-to-day business? We introduce a system called professor of practice, rather than keeping the academia, keeping the business as usual with the teachers on board. How do we invite them as a part of our day-to-day business and being a part of the day-to-day delivery, and spending time with the system on board and the students on board, and bring the real exposure to the classroom. And this is what we do as a university. I think this is something the entire ecosystem, if you take the entire ecosystem as the supply chain ecosystem, which is the entire institutions and the colleges and universities in the state or in the country, has to take an action. Yeah.
That's a very important idea. How do we move out of the traditional classroom education, and we continuously, bring education into the field of work itself. The little company that I started called Vallat Education is highly collaborative. We work together with our previous students. They work with us on those encyclopedias and all the books and services that we produce. We try to teach them on the go, and they really learn a lot from the hands-on experience, as we know, not from the classroom experience itself. There's a gap, there's a difference between the talent pool and the talent pipeline, as we call it. The people who have already finished their education, they need to come back and learn more. I'm sure Tinker Hub is doing a lot of great initiatives in that front. People have been talking about Tinker Hub and Tinker Space. We would really like to know more about all those openings that you have given to youngsters, and I'm sure many of us don't know about it. We would like to hear it from you. Nair.
I'll tell a story. This happened around 2022 when COVID just ended and the ChatGPT came. And there was this group of people who are working around how do you reimagine justice in India, and then how we can leverage AI in there. So justice is not a place that very popular for innovation and everything, and AI is like the latest of all the tech. And there were around 50 people. There were serving IAS officers, IPS officers. There were retired judges. Around 50 of them. They would just want to play around with AI and to see like what is the kind of solutions, or what is this all AI about, and how we can actually leverage that in making a better world for everyone. And then all of them actually took a flight. A bunch of them were from outside of India. They came to Kochi. They were staying with us for 5-6 days. And then they were trying to figure out how we can leverage AI. And that time, there was no person in the world who have maybe say 5 years of experience in generative AI, because that just came. And then all of them need somebody to work with, because they don't know how to work with AI. And we had around 10 students from our community who were able to work with these very senior people who are having very deeper insight about law, justice and everything. So there was this very popular internet joke. Somebody shared a poster, a hiring poster, 5 years of some companies hiring people for fast aid AI developer, really good company, really good money and everything, 5 years of experience. And he shared, this is a really nice company, nice opportunity, nice money as well. But unfortunately, it's been only 3 years since I invented this fast AI technology. So thing is like things are changing so fast. Everything around AI and everything are like changing so fast. We don't believe like it's very possible to teach everything in college anymore. So you need to have a mindset of figuring out things on the go. And then the question is like how do you give that kind of a confidence or the point of view, because like generally we have been told you like the way in her presentation like you go to college, then you get a job and then maybe retire from there. It doesn't work anymore. And other learning we have is like if you go to the remotest college of in Kerala and if you ask about the latest of the technology part, there might be at least one student who might have some idea about that technology, and most of the students might not have any clue at all. So but the question is like if there is a safe space for them to know each other, and like what if there is a safe space so that a final year computer science guy have the comfort of going and asking a second year mechanical girl, like I was trying to figure out a bit of say machine learning and I don't know how it works, could you please help me? It works in really good numbers. So we have been doing these things for last a decade. A bunch of youngsters who came from really, so I went to a government school, and all of us actually went to like a very normal backgrounds, and then we were able to create a great life, create startups and everything, because like we had that kind of a ecosystem of people helping each other in learning new technologies. Right now we are around 30,000 members across the state, and one of the things she mentioned, we do one program called useless projects. So one of the answers is like you can't teach. So then you need to have, like the kids should be having that ability to figure out on the way. Then how do they do that? So one of the answer is like a useless project, like build something that you really like. That a girl build a small tool that she get nervous at times. So there will be a small Chrome plugin that help her control her breath and everything. That's one random thing. A plant that can be able to take care of itself. And there is one common saying in Malayalam, Appan thinna madi kuzhi endanda. Like you count how, you just eat the appam, you don't count how many holes in there. But somebody actually went and built a tool that actually counts how many holes are there in an appam. What is the use? There is no immediate use, but it sounds very interesting. But same technology can be used in a drone to figure out what's wrong with the plants. So, but if you push a problem statement and if you want everyone to figure out everything on the go, it might be really hard. But I think like young people really like the agency. So the thing is like, how do we give them an agency and a playful space for them to do whatever they like? And I think like people goes really deep. So I think like there should be enough flexible spaces and safe spaces for young people to give it a try. Yeah.
When you say people, I don't see it as a very homogeneous group, because students from some disciplines, from some regions, from some colleges and universities, maybe they get to do these things, they get to hear about it. But there are lots of people out there, especially from the humanities and liberal arts, which I am from. Colleges and departments are just shutting down because students don't know what to do. They don't want to take up these courses anymore. So there's a lot of information gap. People are not aware of all these things. That is one gap that we have to talk about. And like you mentioned slightly, the gender gap is also there. How far are women, that too in the pipeline. Now, maybe I deal a lot with students who are like 25 to 35 years old. They have no clue what is this cloud computing or data analytics or all the data mining and all the new things. And even though when you come down to actually talking about digital humanities and all these things, they understand, but nobody is taking the efforts to actually get it to them and train them. How do we address that gap? And sir, in InfoPark, you have seen a lot of changes down the years. Can you look at the history of the InfoParks and what do you see in the future? Are you really struggling to get the right kind of people, or what are your initiatives to address this?
Okay, so at least we are not talking about colleges and education, right? So okay. So what are we trying to do in InfoPark? See, the fundamental goal, or rather my KPIs, are to increase the employment in this part of Kerala. So when we talk about employment generation or employment augmentation, we definitely need people to be here. Okay, so talent is a very, very key part of whatever we need to do. So basically, there are two things that we are doing at this point. One is infrastructure. The other is, nurturing talent and then creating a talent ecosystem. But these two are very well interconnected. See, we need to look at why our students, our people are going out of Kerala. So that's a real problem. Primarily because there are no opportunities. Why are there no opportunities? I think that infrastructure is a very, very big issue here. So once we have the right infrastructure, then that can attract the right talent to a particular city. When the talent comes, the opportunities follow talent. It's not the other way around anymore. Earlier it used to be, there are opportunities in some places and then, people go there. Now, companies, they are chasing talent, and whichever city or whichever state where you have talent in abundance, companies will come. And when we look at talent, we have to look at talent from two perspectives. One is the fresh talent that is coming out of our colleges and universities, and then the other one is the lateral talent, people who are experienced. And then that is where we are having the biggest issue right now in Kerala. Most of the experienced talent, they find themselves, or rather, they're not willing to move to a tier 2 city like Kochi or Trivandrum. They still prefer the tier 1s. Even though with all the problems that a Bangalore or a Hyderabad has, they still prefer to be there. So how can we make our city a lot more attractive to these kind of people is something which we are looking at. So all our expansion plans are around creating that kind of infrastructure. And then that kind of, when we talk about infrastructure, there are multiple parts to it. You need to have the office infrastructure, which, InfoPark is, we have been building. And then the other part, the major part is the social infrastructure. And I think that is where the tier 2 cities, especially the Kerala cities, lack a little bit. So we need to bring that right social infrastructure. And obviously the public infrastructure needs to be there, So all of these things are something which we are urging the government to work on. And then, we are creating the kind of policies, or rather we are trying to create that kind of policies at this point. And with the right support from the government, I think that we should be able to get all of these things done. So some of our recent initiatives about creating a world-class, township and stuff like that, it's still happening at this point. So hopefully, within a few years, we will see that kind of infrastructure that can attract the right talent here, and which in turn will create more and more employment for our youth here.
If you may, I wish to ask you something about education again. The policy of the government and of the world in general is bringing down the age of employability. People who have just finished their 4-year undergraduate course can take up jobs, and they are supposed to be employable. So do you believe that universities should do away with the traditional education and have more collaboration with industries and community problems, make it an evidence-based education, make it work-based education? Do you think that's practical?
I think the degrees should go. I don't think we need the degrees, I think we need the skills. And then we need, one problem that I really see here with our education system is, we are forcing the students to think small. Think small in the sense, they are thinking for the next exam. And that is the problem. And then we don't really see that big thinking. When we talk about something very big, everybody is scared of that. So even, recently, we've been talking about this new AI city. And then everybody is telling me that is such an audacious goal. And then, this is not something which you can do. But I want people to start thinking big. And we don't really see those kind of very big ideas coming out of our state yet. We should have that. And then we should have people think big. We should look at how our students can tackle the problem of, say, at least the traffic in the city, which, if you look at it, it's a big problem to solve. And then the waste management problems out here. All of these are very big problems that we need ideas that are coming from the younger generation. But the younger generation is still thinking small. And I think that thinking has to be made bigger, and then the education system will have to make them think big, rather than thinking about the next test or the next exam.
Yes. Why, Tom, why are they not thinking big? Why can't we have a system where education is integrated with entrepreneurship and projects and actual solving problems of the community rather than sitting in the classrooms?
Of course, let me add a couple of points. What exactly is contributed? In fact, InfoPark, or the kind of ecosystem that we are building, which is key, and how do we create the social infrastructure? In fact, city has to be exposed, and that is something we are facing as a key challenge. Especially, we have good institutions in the state, we have good university in the state, and still, the young students, they prefer to move from Kerala to other places. That's a fundamental problem that we have been addressing and we have been discussing for the last couple of years, and this is all about how do we create a proper ecosystem in the state and how do we expose city, and especially when we go to the startup ecosystem, how Bangalore has emerged as the so-called Silicon Valley of India. The kind of engineering colleges, the kind of boom Bangalore has taken the lead in the beginning of 90s, where Kerala had hardly 5 colleges that provides engineering. So the kind of the statement he has made, the companies and the employers running behind the talents. That's exactly the same thing we're seeing in the Info Park. You're seeing the companies like IBM and Accenture, a lot of employees setting up the base. I'll just give you an example that we are trying to do. We create an umbrella organization called Future Kerala Mission. Education is a fundamental aspect and which we have to address from the school and not from the higher education alone. So we have a kind of fascination to move from India to other places like United States or UK or even Australia. That's not just because of quality of education, it's a quality of life and the standard of living and a lot of other aspects. Why can we create the same in Kerala? This is something we have to address as a fundamental problem. So what we have created, we have 4 pillars as a part of Future Kerala Mission, right from the education. And it's not just about, teaching something in the school. It's all about adopting the best practices, like, teaching them how to behave, setting in the right culture, setting in the right behavior from the school. So when we go to the countries like Singapore or UAE, and you don't leave any of the papers, anything on the road. We have a clean roads. This is something with the behavior and the culture we have to correct from the school level. So right from education, it comes to the employability, and as long as we are producing the right talents, timely relevant graduate, employers will set up the base here. Employers will come to the state. That creates an employment opportunity, and that leads to the entrepreneurship as well. How do we create enterprises that can cater the global needs, that can cater local needs as well as the global needs? So we have been talking about taking the lead for IT, but why can't we create something like Google or Microsoft? Almost all the companies that operate in India is mostly as a service company. We haven't created a product company as such. In fact, there are a couple of exemptions like Soho, and there are a couple of startups coming up. So we need the right approach to create right enterprises that can add value. This is a kind of wealth the service companies can create. That kind of direction is not there at engineering colleges in our entrepreneurship ecosystem. How do we create a product company that can go globally from Kerala? It comes to the third pillar of our own engine, which is our Future Kerala Mission. We talk about youth empowerment. How do we keep the youth inspired? How do we keep them motivated, to stay in the state and, to face challenges and to come out of the stress and live their life? This is something we are concentrating on. And finally, the quality of life. So we address the education, and that's the core aspect, right from the school. That will solve the employment, that will solve the entrepreneurship, that will lead to the youth empowerment. Finally, we get the right quality of life in the state. This is something we need. This is something we try to create. We are talking about Kerala, the future ready Kerala, the ideas to talents, our talents to ideas. It starts from the schools, and I agree to the point, and degrees won't exist. Of course, degrees won't exist, but institutions will exist. We will not be teaching, towards a particular paper degree or something getting printed after 3 years or after 5 years, but we try to give the best experience as a right formation through the experience. This is something will change the entire the ecosystem that will help us to build a future ready Kerala. See, can you imagine a situation in 20 years, 30 years down the line, people from other parts of the world and stay here and wait for a permanent residency, kind of residency permit in the state? That is something we have been doing in other parts of the world. So we are looking forward to create that kind of, the state, and that starts from education, and it's a collective effort. We need, institutions, we need the ecosystem player like Sushant, the Info Park, rightly Sushant has mentioned, and we need some, good elements. See, there are, you see the startups based out of Bangalore. Why? They're getting the talents there, they're getting the best exposure, even the city is crowded. They can have all the best, what all the Gen Z is looking for, and that's the uniqueness of the city. How do we create that culture in the city? That is something important for us to create, retain the best talent pool in the state and in the city.
I slightly beg to disagree because I don't, being a teacher of Gen Z, I don't think they are only after material comforts. If they are given opportunities to create meaningful things, to give it back to the community, they are very inclusive and dedicated people. Apart from the fact that they are also after comforts and all that, if they get recognition, if what they do get recognition in the state, in the country, and also globally, if they deserve it, I'm sure a lot of them would like to work here. They need nurturing, they need support to start off. They are scared because there is no support that they see, even though there are a lot of initiatives, it doesn't percolate to every aspect of the society. That is what I think. There are lots of people still there who will be willing to remain and get trained and work here. Are we doing enough to reach out to them? Can't we do more in that regard is what I want to ask you. Yeah.
I have something around the last question as well, in the sense like you were asking about the gender and like students who are not learning tech, like what about students who are learning history, culture, things like that as well. So one of the initiatives we run is called Think Her Hack. So then how do you bring more women to coding? And it need not to be students who are learning say technology. So there was one story, like there is a bunch of girls who are from Newman College, it's like Arts and Science College in Idukki. And then one night, so we do this hack, so we could talk about how the experience of flying or like being in the airplane and everything, like you could do a lot of sessions, like the way this fun, like a meme of like learning about swimming in Tabal and all. But generally the best case is like you go and do that and then you will get that experience. So one of the things that we want, tech is like inevitable to large extent. If you want to do some kind of entrepreneurship innovation, some kind of work, you need to have a bit of understanding of things. I used to feel it's like the English. If you want to do something anymore, you need to have a bit of understanding of technology. So one of these programs is called Think Her Hack. So last year we hosted world's largest hackathon for girls offline. So you go to some place, you try to figure out a bit of coding, bit of ideation, innovation, and by the time it's morning you will build something.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of girls who are doing chemistry and I think economics, and by midnight at around 2 p.m. they were trying to figure out what is GitHub is, like even we might not know. And then by the time it's morning they created something, a small website and things like that, but it's actually working. And the perspective they brought about the, maybe I think it was around some elements and things like that, but none of the engineering students might be able to think about that, because like the problems they think might be totally different. And I was thinking when the so there's a lot of hiring happens around say AI ethics and things like that. So it doesn't come from the tech side alone. It should be coming from maybe somebody who learned about culture.
Right.
But that exposure is always a gap.
Yes, sir. How can we really bring all these small initiatives, harness the power of these initiatives and bring it to a larger level, a global level? How can we bring the government, my question is to Sushank sir, then let's wind up with that. It's a very important question. There are so many wonderful things happening here, but nobody knows about them. We need to bring more attention to Kerala and bridge this gap. I'm sure people like you can do a lot.
See, the thing is, in Kerala, there is all of this perception that, government does something which needs to do everything. And I think we have to break that thing, because government has a completely different function. And if we depend too much on the government, nothing will happen. And then, so there is a way, there's a system that's been set up by the British and we're still continuing that. And just because of that, efficiency and then, proactiveness are not something which are associated with the government. And I think gatherings like this, organizations like AMA, and all of these guys, we need to have that thinking process. So we are just having this discussion right now here, and after this, all of us will go home. And we don't necessarily precipitate this particular question in the air, and then we don't work towards that. And I think it has to be more than government. Government will be willing to participate. Definitely organizations like InfoPark, who is part of the government, will definitely be willing to participate or willing to even lead. But that initiative will have to come from the civil society and all of these organizations. There are so many of those influential people out here. And then, why can't we have a question that we try to answer along with our youth, all of us together? Let's see, what can we do to change this place? To start with, let's make a change in Kochi to start with. And then let's see, this is what we can do. And once that is successful, with all of these ideas coming around, and then we are working on an action plan, then we can take it to the rest of the state. And then obviously government will definitely be interested in participating, but you ask the government to lead it, it won't happen.
So it's in the hands of KMA and all of us here now. We had a very good discussion. Thank you all. We were reiterating many of the things we already knew, but it is important to reiterate and think again and again until we find a solution to many of these problems. Thank you very much for your participation. The time is up for us, so we'll move on to the next. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Over the course of KMA's Young Minds Summit, we've had the chance to hear from several industry leaders. We hope that you have all gained immensely from this summit. I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Tom Jose, former Chief Secretary, for his esteemed presence in today's summit and for his powerful talk on the need for critical thinking. A special word of thanks, sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Mr. Sharad Babu. It was truly inspiring to hear his entrepreneurial journey. A word of thanks to all our speakers for sharing their expertise and experiences, making this summit truly impactful. A big thank you to Vishnu Pai for lightening the mood with his wonderful stand-up comedy set. Special thanks to our KMA President, Mr. K. Harikumar, our Senior Vice President, Mr. Aljaz Khalid, and Advisor of KMA Young Minds, Mr. Bibu Puniran, for their valuable support in helping us curate today's event. I'd also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude towards the team at the KMA office for their tireless and dedicated efforts behind the scenes. Big thank you to our MC and KMA Executive Director, Lieutenant Jojo, for conducting the event smoothly. The success of any conference is the delegates. You have truly been a great audience. Thank you for all for being part of this memorable session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anub Abraham. Ladies and gentlemen, transformation is not a destination, it is a mindset. May the ideas shared today inspire action, collaboration, and impact far beyond this hall. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the 43rd KMA Annual Management Convention, ClaySys KMAC 2026.